be seeing this video on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Your boy Rick and Team Hydro 2D are about to take you for a ride. Yes, sir. 2023 program. 2023 program. Shout out to Seafair. Shout out to Team Hydro 2D, Mr. Bruce Carson, Mr. Kevin Glenn. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's grow this thing all the way to the end. Let's get it. We here, y'all. Let's go.
Two, one, mark. 5 minutes to the start of our Heat 1A, our H1 Unlimited hydroplanes. The fastest race boats in the world can now come out on the race course. The first boat away from the pit area is the U91, the Goodman Real Estate. So that was the 5-minute mark, and it is time to go racing. Let's run down the boats that will be in our Heat 1A. The U1, it is predominantly blue and white. It is the Miss Homestreet. It is driven by Dylan Runny. He is a rookie, but he is a good one. He's going to be joined by the bright red Beacon Electric U8, driven by J. Michael Kelly. J. Michael Kelly's teammate Corey Peabody drives the U9. It's predominantly white. It is the Beacon Plumbing. And rounding out our 4-boat field in our Heat 1A is the white trimmed in black and gold Goodman Real Estate. It's U91. It is driven by Andrew Tate. Our boats can cut the race course. I'm expecting we're going to see some of that happen here very quickly. But before we get to that, as J. Michael Kelly is going to cut across the race course, the start of our Heat 1A is just a few minutes away, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones race course. So it is time to get out of the water and enjoy the fastest race boats in the world. John Walters, I made a comment that I expected a couple of the boats to cut the race course. They all did.
Yeah, the race started the minute they pushed the button to leave the dock there, and you can see they're all running fairly close together. The start is huge here. These are only 3-lap preliminary races, so if somebody gets a jump on you, it's tough, as fast as all these boats are, to make up that difference and make up that distance. Now, you're going to see guys that want to have the inside lane. They're going to try to drag guys up there early so that they can maybe get them to jump the gun or make a mistake. You have to maintain a minimum speed of 80 miles per hour. That's kind of a judgment call now, and as Dylan cuts across the infield here to try and pick up that inside lane as everybody else is coming down the front straightaway here. So it's going to be a battle from the very beginning. Just like we said, this is a heavyweight championship, but it's going to be 4 different fighters.
Yeah, this is going to be good. So we're coming up on 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Again, for those of you that have never seen this before, we're not racing yet. That doesn't mean we're not in the middle of a competition right now. Watch J. Michael Kelly. Is he going to make a move? I thought maybe he might jump across to the backstretch, but no, that would have been a legal maneuver. But he did not. He went all the way down to the bottom of the race course as we approach 2 minutes and 20 seconds, 2:20 until the start. Remember, our boats do not have assigned lanes. They are jockeying for position. So wherever somebody is on the course right now, that may be where they want to be. It may not be where they want to be. As John was talking earlier, you've got to have a plan B, C, and sometimes D when you get out on the race course. We will begin our 3-lap preliminary Heat 1A in 1 minute and 50 seconds. John, they're all up at the top end of the race course. Dylan Runny's going to come off first.
Yeah, the way this race course is set up, at the 1-minute gun, you want to be between, about the apex of turn 1 here and the exit pin. It's a short run down that back straightaway, especially as fast as these guys go. So you're going to see everybody try to get down there, and like you mentioned, you're either at where the spot you want to be on the race course or where you would think you want the competition to think you want to be there. So a lot of this is just head games, and a lot of it's play in the game.
And another piece to this puzzle that we talked about earlier, but not yet during this heat, the boats cannot drop below 80 miles per hour. So that really affects how you fight for these positions. You can't just go park in a lane at the top end of the race course. You have to maintain at least 80 miles an hour. That will be determined by the officials when we finish the heat, and the boats come back to the pit area and they look at the data recorder. So now inside 1 minute, they were pretty much where you were talking about, John, and right now it looks as though Dylan Runny in the U1, the Miss Home Street, is going to sit in lane number 1 up the backstretch. That's going to be his teammate Andrew Tate sitting in 2, lane 3. Looks like Corey Peabody, but we're going to watch where J. Michael Kelly might slot. He's coming up behind the boats, and we are inside 35 seconds. John, they're at the top end. We're going to be racing here inside 25 seconds.
Yeah, they're all in pretty good shape. Dylan may be a little bit early, and you saw J. Michael Kelly last week, get up there too early, and he had to make a decision. Do I jump the gun, or do I get disqualified? If you jump the gun, at least you get to continue to race. It's about 7 seconds off the exit pin, and here they come.
Inside 10 seconds now. They come down to the start. It is Runny in 1. It is Tate in 2. It's Peabody in 3. On the outside, J. Michael Kelly. We are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. Mark, it looks to be legal from here. We'll call them as they are on the water. And John Walters said that Dylan Runny didn't bring a lot of boat speed down as he was early. He's going to trail the field into turn 1. Our leader on the outside is J. Michael Kelly, but he's already been passed to the left of him on the inside. That is going to be Corey Peabody in the Beacon Plumbing, and inside of him it is Andrew Tate. It is Tate. It is Peabody up the backstretch. Halfway through, Peabody on the outside. He's up by about 3 boat lengths. But now, John, it's that inside lane position that Andrew's got at the top end.
Yeah, Corey's really in the best position here because he can control, how wide and how early, they get into the turn there. So he's going to try to hold and maintain that radius around there as they start down the straightaway towards the start-finish line at the end of lap 1.
A boat that's showing me an awful lot of speed right now is J. Michael Kelly because he's staying in the mix here, and he's running the biggest race course on the far outside. Our 4th place boat across the line is Dylan Runny in the Home Street now. Down to the lower end of the race course, it is still Corey Peabody. He's running in lane number 2. He's holding Andrew Tate to a nice tight line on the inside. He's driving him legal, John. He's giving him enough room, but he's not giving him any more.
Yeah, he's not giving him any extra, and he knows exactly where he's at. He's got spotters that are telling him he can see the race course himself very well, and he knows as long as he can pinch, Andrew in that first turn there, that he's going to have to come off the throttle to maintain his boat speed so he doesn't slide out into that rooster tail. So he's actually controlling the first turn, even though he's not in the first lane.
I've been making the comment all weekend long that nobody has solved the Corey Peabody puzzle, and once again he's out almost by a rooster tail. J. Michael Kelly on the far outside has got his sight set on Andrew Tate, but that's going to be a tall order as the boats go down to the bottom end of the race course for the 3rd and final time. Our leader off the exit pin, Corey Peabody, got almost a full rooster tail now on Andrew Tate on the inside. Tate, our top qualifier. Our Beacon Plumbing with Corey Peabody was our 3rd fastest qualifier, but John Walters, they've got a good race setup, and he's walking away from our top qualifier up the backstretch.
They've got an excellent race set up. The water was good. Corey did a really good job, and like I mentioned earlier, lane 2 is the place you want to be here. This is a big, wide race course with big turns, and boy, you get on any farther outside than that, and it's a long, long ways around these turns. But Corey was in a position to control that first turn and really put him in a position to win.
Checkered flag flies. Corey Peabody in the U9. Beacon Plumbing, 2nd place. It's going to go to our top qualifier, Andrew Tate, U91 Goodman Real Estate. Then it's J. Michael Kelly in 3rd, driving the 8. That is the Beacon Electric. And the man who was a little bit early at the start, and you saw how it can cost him, Dylan Runny in the U1, the Miss Home Street. You talked about it, John. You said maybe Dylan was early. He was. He came off the corner. The other guys were behind him, got to put the foot down. They brought the momentum to the line. And unfortunately, as you said prior to the heat, you can't let these guys get the jump on you because they're just too quick. You'll never catch them in 3 laps.
Exactly. And in the old days, you used to be able to sneak up there a little bit early, and you could back off the throttle. You could, use up some extra time going wide in the turns or whatever. But if you drop below 80 miles an hour, you're going to get penalized now. So you put yourself in a real tough position. You want to get up there and put yourself in a good spot to be able to get the lane that you want without having to forfeit the boat speed. And, Corey did just a great job, kept the boat in good, clean water. J. Michael did a great job keeping the boat in good, clean water. Unfortunately, that effort that Dylan put on to try and get the inside lane cost him boat position. So that was a real tough thing for him to have to deal with. And short 2-mile race course here, as fast as these boats are, the chances of driving around these guys on the outside are not good.
Looking for an easy way to get that LLC next to your business name? Say hello.
the 5-minute mark, and it is time to go racing at the 2023 Home Street Bank Cup and APBA Gold Cup. Here's who will be racing once again in our Heat 1B. It'll be boat number 11. It is the Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse, driven by Jamie Nielsen. It is chartreuse, royal blue. It is trimmed in red. Going to be joined on the race course by the predominantly red, trimmed in black and silver U12, the Grand Trucking. Rookie Bobby King will be behind the wheel of that one. Bobby will be starting on the front row. He is fully qualified. Then you've got the U40, the boat John was talking about, that he thinks he may have everybody covered at top end speed. That's not everything, but it's a lot. Dustin Eccles will drive that beautiful blue and yellow hydroplane. It's the U40, the Flavor Pack. Then we have our qualifying driver, Gunnar O'Farrell, driving the U60, the Beast Unleashed. Presents Miss Thriftway. He's got to start on the outside of the field, and he's got to start 5 seconds behind the clock. So we are just a few minutes, in fact 3 minutes and 45 seconds away from the beginning of our Heat 1B, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones racecourse. It's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats. John, I was checking that little blurb. I had to read about the safety aspect. I'm looking at the race course. It looks as though maybe one boat cut.
Yeah, Dustin Eccles cut in the Flavor Pack just past the start-finish line on the back stretch to the front stretch as they came down. Everybody started on that side of the race course, so it was real short to get to the race course, with the exception of Gunnar. He's over here on the lagoon side, so he had to drive all the way around, which works out just fine for him because, as you mentioned, he'll have to start on the outside lane in 5 seconds off the clock. Now, that's important, the off the clock part, because some of these guys, if they have a problem, they could be off the clock themselves, 3 or 4 seconds. He doesn't have to be 5 seconds behind them, but 5 per second after the clock strikes 0.
And we just had an interesting maneuver because Dustin Eccles cut the race course again a second time, but as he came out of the infield and re-entered the race course on the front straightaway, it was made very clear last night at the drivers' meeting, if you come from that infield, as we're watching Bobby King do right here on the front straightaway, when you do that, you have no right-of-way. The boats behind you, coming up behind you, have the right-of-way, but it worked out well for Dustin Eccles because he was way in front of Jamie Nielsen, and he made sure to give his boat a squirt, so he got away, so there was no interference with a boat that was already on the race course, that being Jamie Nielsen in the Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse. Up the backstretch with 155 until the start. Dustin Eccles is up there first. He might be a little bit early. John, you were saying he wanted to be down here at the lower end at a minute. Remember, he can't just slow the boat down. He's got to stay above 80 miles per hour.
Got to stay above 80 miles per hour, maintain a planing attitude. And you want to be about the apex to the exit pin when the 1 minute gun goes off. Now, you've already heard and seen some jockeying going on. If you hear that popping and banging out there, that's a compressor stall where the bleed band is locked closed, and it's getting down to a point where the bleed band is closing and the fuel control gets unhappy and the compressor stalls. Dustin's a little bit early there. If he backs off the throttle here, he risks going under 80 miles an hour and could be penalized a lap or even disqualified. So as we're getting for the countdown for the 1 minute gun right now.
3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 mark. I think Dustin's going to be okay. He went deep into that corner to scruff off a little bit of time. Now he can swing it back into an inside lane. The boats don't determine their final lane until the entrance pin of the upper corner up by the bridge. So they could still see a lane change at this point, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's the way they're going to come to the line. Dustin Eccles in the U40, the Flavor Pack, is going to sit in lane number 1. Lane number 2 is going to go to Jamie Nielsen. That is in the Legend Yacht Transport. That is the chartreuse and royal blue. Then it is going to be Bobby King in the red trimmed in black Grand Trucking to U12. We'll have Gunnar O'Farrell on the far outside, trailing the field coming to the line. We are inside 20 seconds until the start. Watch the boats fan out on the top end of the race course, and then a run down to turn number 1. And we are inside 10 seconds. Now look at Bobby King. He's got speed, bringing it to the line. Is he too early? We are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. Mark Boats are across the line. Bobby King appears to have a good start, and it is a legal start. It is legal. Bobby King, the rookie, going to take him down to the lower end of the race course, but he's got Jamie Nielsen with him, and also now Nielsen takes over the lead on the inside. Off the corner, coming up the backstretch, Jamie Nielsen, U11 Legend Yacht Transport looking strong. Again, another good start for Jamie Nielsen, John, as they go up the top end of the race course, but he's got company in Bobby King.
Yeah, Jamie made a really good start up there, and when Dustin got up there a little bit early, he had to slide out wide just a little bit, and Jamie slid inside of him there, got the #1 lane. So, like I say, I think that Flavor Pack boat's got a little top end on everybody here. Jamie was able to, reel in Bobby there, and then the 12 as they got down there, and boy, they've got a real good race going here as they go to the first turn at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 down to the bottom end of the race course. That is Jamie Nielsen in lane #1. Bobby King with a good start and a lot of boat speed is sitting in lane #2. He is in position #2. And then keep an eye on Dustin Eccles. You said he had top end on everybody. He might, and he's going to try and use it, and he's got his sights set on Bobby King. The race may be for second place, but I'll tell you what, Jamie Nielsen cannot relax. He's got a right side rear view mirror that is full of the rookie Bobby King. Graham Trucking running very strong up the backstretch. We are in the middle of lap #2. Still anybody's race up at the top end. Where is Gunnar O'Farrell? There he is. He's halfway up the backstretch. So O'Farrell is still running in 4th place. Jamie Nielsen's going to come down and put 2 in the books, and that is going to be in 1st place. But look at the run for 2nd place. Here comes Dustin Eccles on the outside. The Flavor Pack, he flies the 40 as he drives around Bobby King on the outside, but King's going to have lane position on the inside. This corner's going to be very interesting for our 2nd place battle. It is the Flavor Pack, U40 Dustin Eccles. He has now taken over 2nd place. He's holding Bobby King in tight, but our leader with a full 2 rooster tails over those 2 boats remains Jamie Nielsen. Legend Yacht Transport presents the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouses at the top end of the course and looking strong. Don't count out Bobby King. He's still got lane position up here, and Dustin Eccles is going to have to drive a great big race course to go outside the wake of Jamie Nielsen. But coming down to pick up a checkered flag here, at least unofficially in our Heat 1B, Jamie Nielsen, U11 Legend Yacht Transport. 2nd place is going to go to Dustin Eccles in the Flavor Pack. 3rd place to Bobby King in the Graham Trucking, the U12. And coming off the top end of the race course in the U60, the Beast Unleashed presents Miss Thriftway rookie Gunnar O'Farrell.
Really, I'm looking for like a new rim shot. Don't tell me what first place.
He will score. That was an interesting start sequence because we're getting some really good examples of coming to the line too early, having to pull your foot out, lose a little boat speed, etc. And we can see how it can cost you, but I was impressed with the rookie Bobby King. He put that 12 across the line first. There were others with more boat speed, that being Jamie Nielsen. And Jamie Nielsen's just been doing that all year long.
Jamie's been doing that all year long, you're right. Even last year he was making really good starts and getting the inside lane most places when he put his mind to doing it. He put himself in a position, and kind of the same thing happened in this heat that we saw in the first heat. Somebody made a move, made a commitment to get up there and get that inside lane. In order to do that, they had to get there just a little bit early. And the minute that you have to back off or change lanes to keep from jumping the gun or stay above that 80-mile-per-hour mark, you become very vulnerable. Dustin ended up getting himself up there just a smidgen early, and Jamie saw that move to the inside, made a great start, and was able to hold everybody else off for a lap. So an excellent heat of racing, and I think the best is yet to come. Everybody wants to win these heats if they can. They're not willing to, they're not going all in yet. They're not risking the bank on it, and we'll end up seeing that they made some changes. They learned a little bit about the race course. I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to do tomorrow, but that'll play a big factor as well. We've got another set of heats here this afternoon. The water typically gets rougher as the day goes on, and with the things that they learned here, all the stuff that they've got in their notebook and on the computer there, the next set of heats, I think, are going to be just as good as these.
Should be a good one. We're coming up on 4 minutes until the start of our Heat 2A, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones Racecourse. So now it's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats. J. Michael Kelly cuts the course from back to front, illegal maneuver. There's another cut right there. Johnny jumped right back over to the backstretch again. Illegal maneuver by J. Michael Kelly.
Yeah, I think JMK is looking over there and he sees Jamie coming up on the inside lane, and Jamie's been really good at it, getting that inside lane and making great starts. So I think J. Michael knows he needs to have the inside lane here in order to win, and so he's not going to let Jamie get too far ahead there. I think he's just going to pace him here, and you'll see a real battle there.
Down to the lower end of the race course, Dustin Eccles driving the Flavor Pack, and boy, did he go deep into that lower corner. Watching the clock, everybody is. Remember, for those of you who are new or may not remember from this morning, the lanes are not assigned when they leave the pit area. They are fighting for those lanes, and this is what we call the milling period. John Walters sometimes referred to as the race before the race.
It definitely is the race before the race, and like I say, I think that you're seeing one going on here right now with Jamie Nielsen and J. Michael Kelly. J. Michael's working real hard to move over and take that inside lane. He's just kind of pacing him behind there, and now you see Dustin, cutting across the infield here, looking to get into that the hunt for that inside lane as well. So right now they're all in really good shape. Like we talked about in the earlier heats, you want to be about the apex to the exit pin or the first turn there when the 1 minute gun goes off, and then you can cruise down the back straightaway, and it's only about a 7-second run from the exit pin to the starting line.
And you were talking about J. Michael Kelly and Dustin Eccles maybe trying to find a way inside of Jamie Nielsen. Meanwhile, radio personnel to Jamie Nielsen are saying, don't move, don't, oh, look at this, look at Andrew Tate. He's going to jump over to the backstretch now. Andrew does not have a right-of-way here. He's got to be careful, and J. Michael Kelly went right through the rooster tail of Andrew Tate, and I'm telling you right now, the officials are going to take a look at that one. The boat that is on the straightaway has the right-of-way. J. Michael Kelly had the right-of-way there, and it is going to be a question about Andrew Tate. A boat entering the course from the infield does not have the right-of-way. I'm sure the officials are going to take a look at that. We'll call them the way they are on the water. And at the top end of the race course, it is Jamie Nielsen. He is right now in lane number 1. Kelly is in 2. It is Andrew Tate in lane number 3. Watch him come off the top end of the race course. But we're still a minute 30, still a minute 35, John, until our start. So they got to go all the way down and around again.
Yeah, they're going to cruise down here, staying above that 80 mile per hour minimum, trying to establish and hold these lanes. Like I say, if they can get down to the first turn here about the apex when the 1 minute gun goes off, they'll be in great shape. You'll see them accelerate and start up the turn. Now, they can still change lanes until they get to the score-up buoy here, which is the entrance pin of the second turn.
Up at the top end of the race course by the floating bridge. So you've called it about 1 minute. They want to be down at the apex of the lower corner. That's where they are right now with 2-1 mark, 1 minute. And it is Jamie Nielsen sitting in lane number 1. He is in the Legend Yacht Transport. Then it is J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. That's a red boat in lane 2. Coming up behind them is the predominantly white boat, the Goodman Real Estate, with Andrew Tate. And it looks like making a charge on the outside is going to be Dustin Eccles in the U40, the Flavor Pack, 37 seconds. John, as they go up the backstretch.
Yeah, they're all in pretty good shape right here. Actually, from J. Michael K back, they're in excellent shape, and you can see they're going to start accelerating, getting after the power here. They're going to have a little bit of a speed advantage by the time they get to Jamie up there, but he's still in control of this field right now.
Jamie Nielsen is in 1. Kelly is in 2. Tate is in 3. Eccles is on the outside. They are at the exit pin of the corner at 11 seconds. So they're going to have to hold back here just a little bit. We are inside 10 seconds. Now they start to come up on the power curve. Going to be a pretty start. We are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 mark. And we are racing in Heat 2A. The start appeared to be good, but we'll monitor the radio. And it is going to be Andrew Tate and J. Michael Kelly that are going to get down here first. And they are literally side side by side. But once again, Jamie Nielsen with the lane position on the outside. They're going to come off the corner 3 wide. The start is under review. We'll keep an ear to the radio. Look at them, 3 wide down the backstretch. And now J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric starts to move out a little bit on Jamie Nielsen, but he's bringing Andrew Tate with him. The two of them are tied together as they get to the top end of the race course and enter into turn number 2. Nielsen with the lane position on the inside, but boy, John, we got a barn burner on the outside.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And Jamie's got the inside lane, but he's really having to watch himself as the other two boats have got overlap now, and they're starting to put the pinch on him, hoping he'll have to back off the throttle, and then they'll give them a clear advantage to move over to that inside lane.
One lap in the books with 2 more to go. It was J. Michael Kelly by about a boat length and a half, but now Tate has closed that up. He's basically pulled up alongside Mike. The two of them are going to come off the lower corner virtually side by side. Looks like one boat, but now we see a little bit of white. We can see Andrew Tate, Goodman Real Estate, Beacon Electric tied together up the backstretch, and watch on the outside. Dustin Eccles in the flavor pack. He's not being lost. He was in 4th place. He has now moved past Jamie Nielsen as they get to the top end of the race course. Dustin Eccles driving a mighty big race course, but our leaders still tied together as they come down to put 2 in the books, John.
Yeah, as they come down this straightaway here, J. Michael Kelly's got the catbird seat. He's, the inside lane, even though he's not in lane number 1, but he's able to, keep Andrew on his hip right there and really control the race course. The boat is accelerating good. They've got great boat ride.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Andrew Tate really flew the 91 as he got down to the corner. Kelly's got to come out first. Now he's opened up a little bit of water on Andrew Tate, making about 4 or 5 boat lengths. I'm telling you, Dustin Eccles not going away in 3rd, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to run down Andrew Tate. J. Michael Kelly, you heard John Walters say he is in a catbird seat. He's sitting on an inside lane. He's just got to negotiate this north turn, come through clean, come down, and he will pick up a checkered flag and an apparent 400 big points, and that's going to be huge in the national high point standings. We'll get to that later. Here they come, top of the course, come down to put 3 up and 3 down. Checkered flag flies. It is J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. He will finish first. Andrew Tate will come across in 2nd place. A hard-charging Dustin Eccles will come across in the U40, the flavor pack. And Jamie Nielsen, he will come down and finish in 4th place. He had that lane on the inside, but boy, it didn't take long for Kelly and Tate to move out on him, and like you say, then it got tight in there for Jamie, and they were holding him on that inside lane, and it's just tough to do.
It is tough to do, and even Dustin, he appears to have top end on everybody here, but this is a big race course, and here on lane 3 or 4 like that, with only 3 laps to accomplish it in, it's difficult to drive by him. And typically, when you've got top end on everybody, you don't have the bottom end, and you don't accelerate as well. And on this big, wide race course, that's really what you want, is the bottom end. You want to be able to get through the turns well, just squirt off that exit pin, and pull hard all the way to the next turn. And I think Dustin maybe has a little more gear, or maybe just a little bigger propeller than he needs right now. And they'll make some changes. They'll be better.
Boats, remember, have to sit at the dock, and a driver actually has to have a crew member with a hand on the boat at the 5-minute mark before they can take off. And just like that, John Walters, they are coming away from the dock, and that means we're inside the 5-minute mark to our Heat 2B, presented by Beacon Plumbing. Once again, let's run down who is going to come out on the water. And the first boat out is powder blue and white. It is the U1. It is the Miss Home Street. It is driven by rookie Dylan Running. The boat you're looking at on the screen, for those of you on the live stream, the U9 to Beacon Plumbing with Corey Peabody. Nobody has solved the Corey Peabody puzzle yet. He's driving the white U9, Beacon Plumbing, Corey Peabody. The predominantly red Graham Trucking U12, driven by the rookie Bobby King. He is away and up on the race course. And joining him on the race course, I see he is pulled away from the Stan Sayers Memorial Pit area, the U60. The Beast, Unleashed, presents the Miss Swiftway with Gunnar O'Farrell. The start of Heat 2B is 3 minutes and 50 seconds away, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydroplanes are on the Ted Jones race course. So now it is time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats. John, I've been reading that script to make sure everybody's safe. What am I missing on the water?
Well, I think you're going to see Dylan make a real effort here to, get an inside lane and make a great start. He only finished 4th in that first heat there, so he's needing points. And, he dropped a few points to, the other boats. boats there, and you know, we're into the second round of heats here. Only a couple more chances to gather enough heats to get into the final. So I think he's going to make a real concerted effort here to get an inside lane, make a good start, and you know, hopefully win first or second place here. Of course, there's 3 other boats out there that have different plans, and they don't think that they want him in that final heat. So they're going to work real hard to, you know, push him around and keep him outside there. So you know, the rookie here in the 12 with Bobby King, you know, he's got some learning to do. He's still learning the boat. He's still learning the race course. He's still learning these other drivers. And then Corey. You know, Corey's got a pretty good handle on things right now. And like you say, he's kind of the main piece in this puzzle right now, and nobody's really figured that out. But I think they're going to pay real close attention to him, and hopefully, in their minds, they're thinking that they're going to be able to contain him and control him, not let him run away from him.
2 minutes and 20 seconds, 2:20 until the start of our Heat 2B, presented by Beacon Plumbing. Gunnar O'Farrell comes off the lower end of the race course. Behind him is Corey Peabody, and just entering the lower turn is the Miss Home Street, Dylan Runny. The boats are spread out on the backstretch right now for Heat 2B, presented by Beacon Plumbing. Looking at the clock, 2 minutes until the start of Heat 2B, presented by Beacon Plumbing. Top end of the race course, Bobby King. He surprised me, John, in that last heat because he moved to an inside lane. Not the inside lane, but he went ahead and said, I'm going to come in here and mix it up with you guys. And he had a nice start. He had a good run in that first heat.
He did have a nice start, and like I say, he's no stranger to fast boats and having to race hard. So he's going to come down here a little bit early right now. Looks like he's going to cut across maybe, or at least he's slowing way down, trying to get an inside lane down here and be in that first turn with a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, well, what it looks like to me, if he can hold it off and he can keep his speed above 80 miles an hour and get down there, he's going to have an inside lane. He may have the inside lane. I think he's sitting tight to the buoy rail right now. 1:10, 1:10 until the start, and it is. Bobby King is sitting in lane number 1. Oh, this could be a lot of fun. We are at 2 seconds, 1 second mark. 1 minute to our Heat 2B, presented to Seafair by Beacon Plumbing. And now, off the bottom end of the race course, Bobby King in the U12, the Ram Trucking, predominantly black, trimmed in red. He is on an inside lane. Next to him in lane number 2 is the U9, the Beacon Plumbing. That's Corey Peabody. He was a winner in his first heat. Then it is going to be Dylan Runny in the powder blue and white Miss Home Street. He's going to be in lane number 3. Look for Gunnar O'Farrell in the Beast Unleashed to drop back on the outside. He's way on the outside right now. He will drop back. He has to start 5 seconds behind the clock. I like where they are, John Walters. They were 20 seconds at the entrance pin to the corner. Look at King sitting in 1. I like it. Now, Dylan Runny, he's out in front of everybody, but he's not going to have a lot of boat speed. We are coming up inside 5 seconds. We are 3 seconds, 2, 1. Mark, it appears to be a very clean start. Corey Peabody's going to break the clock. It is a legal start, and he's going to get down to the corner first, but he's got Bobby King up to his left on the inside lane. Look for Corey to stick the white nose out first, and there he is, Corey Peabody. But he's got a left side rear view mirror full of Bobby King. I'm liking this rookie, Bobby King, John.
Yeah, I definitely like Bobby. He comes from a long line of good boat racers. His dad, of course, being one of those. He's going to hang right in there. At this point in time, you know, Corey's got enough overlap. He could take the lane, but I bet that he won't. He'll give him plenty of room down there. He's got boat speed on everybody right now. He made a great start leading these guys around the upper turn.
The boat you don't see is the Home Street, the Miss Home Street. He is on the outside. He is in 3rd position. You couldn't see him up the backstretch. Here comes Corey. 1 up, 1 down, 2 to go. Still got Bobby King on the inside. It's about a rooster tail lead for Corey Peabody. The race is going to be for 2nd place. Can Dylan Runny run down the rookie Bobby King on the inside? He's going to have to do it on a big race course, John.
He is, and this is a long ways around this race course, but you know, Dylan's got the boat in a good lane right there. He's accelerating really hard. The boat comes off the turns, and he appears to have, you know, boat speed on Bobby when he gets to the other end there. But he runs out of straightaway just about the time that he gets in a position to make a move.
I'm telling you right now, Bobby King has closed up on Corey Peabody. He's only back by about 4, maybe 5 boat lengths, and he's got an inside lane. Bobby King is making a run out of this on the inside. King right on the buoy row. They're going to come off together. Peabody on the outside. King has taken the lead off the corner, and they're going to be inside as they come down and put 2 in the books. Bobby King driving the daylights out of the Graham Trucking on the inside. He has moved away from Dylan Runny, who's dropped back in 3rd position. 3rd and final lap, lower into the race course. How do we do down here? Corey Peabody found some extra speed. He's opened up about 4 boat lengths. I'll tell you what, I don't know if King surprised Corey or not, but he made a run on that last straightaway.
It's hard to say exactly if maybe he snuck up on him there, but Corey's opened up a little bit of ground here. He's given Bobby enough room inside there. He's given him a lane in about a foot, so he's got to get in there and tighten up that radius.
Now we're back to keeping an eye on Dylan Runny in 3rd. I don't know if he can run down Bobby King. He's way on the outside. Got a big race course to do it. But meanwhile, here comes the leader. Here comes our apparent winner of Heat 2B, presented by Beacon Plumbing. It is the Beacon Plumbing. Nobody has solved the Corey Peabody puzzle. The race for 2nd is a doozy, but it's Bobby King by 5 boat lengths over Dylan Runny on the home street. Holy cow, the rookie just keeps showing me more and more. Top end of the race course, here comes another rookie. We had 3 rookies in that particular heat. Didn't look like it. Looked like pretty good racing to me. Here comes Gunnar O'Farrell in the Beast. Unleashed presents Miss Thriftway. I got excited about that one, John. That was kind of fun. I had a good time. Let's do that again.
Yeah, absolutely. That was an excellent heat. And again, I think this is just a preview of things to come tomorrow.
Yep.
That's going to be an outstanding boat race, and we've already seen some of that. Really good drivers, really good equipment. The water conditions have held up all day today. Actually, this overcast makes it a little bit easier to drive the boat. You don't get that glare off the water and things, and it's been great. So I'm very happy to be here and excited about what's yet to come.
What is yet to come, because this is just a precursor to what's going to happen tomorrow. Remember, fans, 6 boats on the front row tomorrow in a 5-lap winner-take-all final. So we are ready to go boat racing here on Race Day Sunday at the Home Street Bank Cup and APBA Gold Cup at Seafair. Here's who will be racing in our Heat 3A, sponsored by Home Street Bank one more time. It is Bright Red. It is driven by J. Michael Kelly. It is the U8 Beacon Electric. Then the U11, the Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse. The boat comes away from the dock. It is chartreuse. It is royal blue. It is trimmed in red. It is driven by Jamie Nielsen. Then you have the U40. They are away from the dock as well. It is blue and yellow. It is driven by Dustin Eccles. And the white boat with the orange or persimmon, if you would like, stripes on the boat, looks like the Miss Thriftway. For those of you of a certain vintage, it is the Beast Unleashed presents the Miss Thriftway. It is driven by Gunnar O'Farrell. The start of Heat 3A is just under 4 minutes away, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everybody must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones race course. And they are on that course now. We need you up and on the shoreline, please. So now it's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats. 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 3:30 to the start of our Heat 3A, presented by Home Street Bank. John Walters. Yesterday, the boats came out of the pit area, and immediately everybody was jumping across the race course. This morning, first heat, nobody.
Yeah, that's just the difference, I guess, depending on when they left and how they, lined up on the course there. It's so important to get the inside lane here, and they're able to go. Now, we've just got one that's cut across the infield here, and Jamie Nielsen has taken a shortcut across the course, not going through the first turn here, trying to get a position to establish that position in the inside lane.
And that's a perfectly legal maneuver. Now, here comes Jamie from the backside to the front. And that, too, is a legal maneuver. He can only cut the race course where he just did it. He can cut back to front like he just did at the north end of the race course. He can cut front to back at the bottom end of the race course, which he did before. And he, Jamie Nielsen, is going to follow J. Michael Kelly in the U8. That's the bright red Beacon Electric. He's going to follow him down to the lower end of the race course. Meanwhile, coming off the bottom end of the race course at 2:23 until the start. 2:20 now. Up the backstretch, the first boat up there is the blue and yellow. That is the Flavor Pack. And Dustin Eccles, he's followed by Gunnar O'Farrell. And the predominantly white beast Unleashed presents Miss Thriftway. 2:06, John, 2:06. This is the milling period. A lot can happen over the next couple of minutes.
It definitely can, and we're a minute away from that 1 minute gun. Most of these guys are going to want to be about the apex of the first turn down here when the 1 minute gun goes off, and then they'll stroll up the back straightaway, hopefully in the lane that they've chosen. When they get at the other turn up there, they're going to be about a 12-second run from the exit pin to the starting finish line.
All right, 140 to the start. Everybody went up to the top except Jamie Nielsen again. He cut the race course again. He cut it back to front. He cut it at the top end, a legal maneuver. So here comes Dustin Eccles down the front straightaway. He's coming down here at 1:25. You heard John just say you want to be at the apex of this corner about the 1 minute mark, so they might be a little bit early. Jamie Nielsen trails both Gunnar O'Farrell and Dustin Eccles down to the corner, and then your last boat going down there, which actually I like perhaps the positioning of J. Michael Kelly. That's the red boat. He's going to be the last one down there. Fans, our boats, when they come out on the race course, they are not assigned a lane. They actually jockey for those positions, and to get those lanes, the last piece to that puzzle is you cannot drop below 80 miles per hour, and that will be determined when they take the data acquisition boxes out of the boat after the heat. The data will tell them if they dropped below 80. We saw that yesterday inside 40 seconds heading up toward the top end of the race course, John Walters.
Here they go up the back straightaway, and you can see Jamie, pulled off that magic again. Got the inside lane in a good position there. I think that everybody's going to close it up here pretty quickly, and there'll be a race literally from the exit pin to the starting line.
20 seconds until the start. We're going to go 3 times around. J. Michael Kelly, he's going to have an outside start, but he's going to come into lane 3. That's right. Gunnar's got to stay on the outside. The lane was there for him. We are inside 10 seconds to our start. We are coming up on 5. We are 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, and man, that one's going to be close, but I think it was good. It was the Flavor Pack and Dustin Eccles who broke the clock. I think he's going to get down to the turn first, but he and Kelly are tied together. The start is under review. Who's going to come out first? It is Dustin Eccles in a Flavor Pack, but he has got J. Michael Kelly with him on the outside. He's got Jamie Nielsen on the inside. It is a legal start. It's a legal start, so everybody is good. Up the backstretch, you got 4 H1 Unlimited hydroplanes, closely bunched, but look at Dustin Eccles. John Walters, he's really moving.
He definitely is, and Dustin put himself in a great position there to use that top end. He laid back just a little bit, hit the starting line with top end on everybody, got to the first turn first, and put himself in a position to control that first turn.
And here he comes down to put one in the book. You couldn't see him up the backstretch, but J. Michael Kelly driving the Beacon Electric. It's bright red. It's on the outside, and he's only back by about 3, maybe 4 boat lengths. We are on lap number 2 of 3. The race is out front. It is Dustin Eccles in the Flavor Pack being chased by J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. Do not forget about Jamie Nielsen. Nielsen in the Legend Yacht Transport is in 3rd place. He's on an inside lane. Now Dustin Eccles got Kelly back by about 5 boat lengths. There's that straightaway speed, John. You talked about it.
Yeah, he's pulling everybody going down the back straightaway there again. He gets into the turn in a nice lane, very controlled, leaving room for Jamie to get through there without any conflict. He's just trying to come out wide as can, push J. Michael Kelly around the race course a little bit and use up some of that time. And you can see, they get very close coming off the exit pin.
Yeah, and when he's pushing J. Michael Kelly out like that, what he's doing is leaving the door wide open for Jamie Nielsen to pick up ground and save ground on that inside lane. Kelly's driving an awfully big race course. It is Dustin Eccles off the lower end of the race course. He is in 1st place, but now you see Jamie Nielsen has moved up alongside J. Michael Kelly. They are going to be dead even as they come off the bottom end of the race course, and it's that big course, John, that J. Michael Kelly's having to drive that's opening the door for Jamie Nielsen.
It's a long ways around for J. Michael Kelly as he's on the outside down there, and you can see Dustin's got a little top end on. Everybody gets down there first. Now, when J. Michael has such a big area to make up the difference there. Jamie running on that inside lane's got a much shorter distance, so they come off the exit pin dead even.
Checkered flag flies for Dustin Eccles in the flavor pack, and now it's going to be J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric, holding off a hard-charging Jamie Nielsen in the Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the old Cannery Furniture Warehouse. 1, 2, 3. They come across the start-finish line. Gunnar O'Farrell, our rookie, will come home and pick up 4th place. Points of the U60 The Beast Unleashed presents Miss Thriftway. We promised some good side-by-side racing. We had it. And you've been talking about it all weekend. That 40's got some top-end speed. He got it wound up that time, and he just slowly moved away from the field.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Dustin did a great job of making a start there, and you can see when he went down the back straightaway, he was in a position to go a little wide and a little deep down there by the floating bridge. So when he turned around and started heading south, he had a head of steam on everybody. He probably had 10 miles an hour on the pack by the time they got to the start line there. And he just used that to his advantage, get to the first turn first. And whoever gets there first can control that. And his boat turns well. It does everything well. Good top end. Great job, Dustin Eccles.
We look down in the pit area. There is a hand by a crew member on the back of every boat. And the first one away from the dock is the U9, the Beacon Plumbing. That is going to be Corey Peabody just off to his right. Now turning away from him is the U91, Andrew Tate in the gold and white Goodman Real Estate. Couple of boats away from the dock. Here comes Dylan running. He will come away from the dock in the powder blue and white Miss Home Street. So we're getting ready to go racing here. Let's run down our field one more time. It's the U1, the Miss Home Street with Dylan running. It is the U9, the Beacon Plumbing and Corey Peabody, the bright red, trimmed in black and silver, the U12, Graham Trucking, that's Bobby King, the white, trimmed in gold and black, the U91, Andrew Tate. We are 4 minutes and 5 seconds away from the start of Heat 3B, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones Racecourse. But now it's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats, the H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes. John, 3:45 until the start. I was reading the spot. What did I miss?
Well, I think that as they came down the back straightaway here, we saw kind of an instant replay of what we saw yesterday. Corey Peterson cut across the infield here just north of the start-finish line. Andrew followed him through there, and then Bobby followed him around there. So they're kind of pacing each other. They're kind of checking each other out here. What have you got? Where do you want to be? How are you going to do it? In the old days in the sport of boxing, when they had a fight that really wasn't much of a fight, they called it a boat race. We're going to borrow, we're going to borrow a word from their sport. I think the only way that somebody's going to win this is going to be a knockout.
Now, well, that works for me. Now, watch this. Now, these are a couple of teammates here. Dylan running, going to cut the race course, going to cut it right in front of Andrew Tate. Now, he came out. The boat that is moving to the race course from the infield, in this case the Home Street and Dylan running, he doesn't have any right-of-way until such time as he passes 2 buoys. Now, he got nowhere near his teammate. That would be the Goodman Real Estate and Andrew Tate. There would be no incident there. 2 minutes and 35 seconds to the start. Here comes the rookie Bobby King across the start-finish line. He did a great job yesterday of getting an inside lane. We'll see how it plays out this time, but right now, watch where Andrew Tate's going. He is going to go on the outside of Dylan running. Very, very interesting. He jumped to the outside of the powder blue and white boat. It looks now like maybe he has found his way back inside, John, but that we were watching on the monitor here from the drone. That was an interesting maneuver by Andrew.
It was an interesting maneuver by Andrew, and yesterday Andrew came from the infield to the backside there and got real close with JMK, and they had a little discussion about that last night. This morning, you can see that as they get ready to come up the back straightaway here, Dylan needs to win this heat. He's not got the points that he'd really like to have at this point in time, so he's going to lead everybody around there and try to take charge of this thing, make a good start here and lead everybody to the first turn.
Yeah, and I said it looked like Andrew Tate had maybe come back to the inside. He has not. Dylan Runny right now coming down the front straightaway. He is sitting in lane number 1. Behind him and now in lane 2, just to his outside, albeit behind him by quite a ways, is Andrew Tate and the Goodman Real Estate, the U91. Then lane 3 is slotted Corey Peabody. Nobody has beaten Mr. Peabody in a heat that he has finished. And then on the outside right now is Bobby King in the Graham Trucking, coming up on 5 seconds to the 1 minute mark. The boats have to declare the lane they are going to race in. They do that by the lane they are in when they get to the entrance pin of the floating bridge turn. That's the lane they have to bring to the start-finish line. Then standard overlap rules apply. So we could see a lane change now, but we're getting late in the game. I don't see anything happening. If Dylan Runny, who's way out in front, John, he's got to watch that 80-mile-an-hour rule.
He does. That was a problem that he had yesterday, and he's kind of setting him up for the same sort of thing this time. I really think Corey's in the best position right here. He's back behind everybody. Dylan's trying to get up there to assure that he gets that inside lane, but yesterday when he did that, he was able to get up there in the inside lane, but he was a little bit early, and when he had to back off, the other guys, came around with boat speed on him, led him to the first turn, and he ended up finishing back in the path.
Now, the two boats from Madison are leading the field up here. The home street's going to come off the corner first. Then it's going to be Andrew in lane number 2. Corey's behind the field right now as they come off the top end of the race course. We are inside 10 seconds. We're inside 5 seconds. We are 4, 2, 1. Mark, and we are racing, and Corey Peabody is back at the start. It is the two Madison boats. It is the Goodman Real Estate on the outside, Dylan Runny on the inside, and the home street that are out in front and by a large margin. Coming off the corner, it is a legal start. Everybody is legal. Dylan Runny in the home street's got the lead over teammate Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate. Keep an eye on that white boat in third place. It is Corey Peabody. Nobody has beaten him this year. But right now he trails the two boats from Madison, Indiana. John Walters, can he make up that much ground?
He's got a lot of ground to make up, and Andrew's pushing real hard on the outside there as they come down the outside. He's actually kind of protecting the boat on the inside of him because Corey's got to get around the first one first, which is going to be Andrew. So he's got a long ways to go. This is a big race course, big wide turns. It's tough to make up any ground here. Dylan's in a perfect spot right there on the inside lane. Good lead going into the first turn. The water's a little bit rough. You can see the kind of the sawtooth in the skid fin water there as it's hooking and unhooking as he comes off the exit pin and with the lead.
And I mentioned those two boats are from Madison, Indiana, but do not expect Andrew Tate to just sit back there in second place. If he's got a shot at getting around Dylan Runny, trust me, he will take it. Andrew Tate is a racer, and he is closing on Dylan Runny at the top end of the race course. There's Runny, there's Tate, lane 1, lane 2. We're going to come down and put 2 in the book. They are going to be side by side. Andrew really hung the 91. He's got a lot of air underneath it. He had to pull his foot. We start lap number 3. It's a 2-boat length advantage for Dylan Runny at the bottom end of the race course. Now this corner could really help decide our Heat 3B here. It is Runny on the inside. It is Tate on the outside. Andrew's going to try and get around him. He's only back by a half a boat length. They are dead even out of the corner. John, it doesn't get any better than that.
It absolutely doesn't. They're dead even. Andrew's got a little boat speed on him here on the top end, and he's pulled out about a boat length on him. He's going to control the second turn now as he gets in there. He's going to try to hold Dylan as tight to the buoy line as he can, get him to pull his foot a little bit, bleed off some boat speed, and hopefully that he can out accelerate him coming off the turn here and get to the finish line first.
They have been racing against each other since they were 9 years old. Oh my goodness, this is going to be close. It is Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate. Oh my goodness, it's a good thing they painted that boat last week. I think he got him by a coat of paint. Oh my goodness, that was close.
Wow, what a race. What a race.
And we said it on lap number 2. I said, don't expect him just because, quote unquote, they're teammates, to expect Andrew Tate to let him have that win. It's just not going to happen. It's not in the DNA of Andrew Tate. And he was actually asked about that before the season started, and he said, yeah, we're teammates. He said, but I don't like that word. He goes, Dylan wears powder blue, and I wear gold and white. And when we get on the water, I want to win. Holy cow, that was some kind of fun. And John, I can't say it anymore. The Corey Peabody puzzle has been apparently solved, although Corey's going to kick himself. He was late at the start.
He will. He was just a little bit late at the start, and a second or two, made all the difference in the world there. You'd have to take a look at the lap speeds to see, how fast he was or how slow he was compared to the two boats that finished ahead of him. But he learned something there. The guys on the beach learned something there, and he'll come out and he'll be right back, in the chase.
That is the 5-minute mark. That means the boats can come away from the pit area. Corey Peabody is already up and running in the U9, the Beacon Plumbing. So is Bobby King in the U12, the Graham Trucking. Let's go down the boats that are going to run, all 4 of them that are coming in our Heat 4A. It is the U9, the Beacon Plumbing. It is predominantly white. It's got blue lettering on it. It is driven by Corey Peabody. Going to be joined by the Chartreuse and Royal Blue, trimmed in red, Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse, driven by Jamie Nielsen of Gig Harbor, Washington. Going to be joined by the U12, the predominantly black and red, trimmed in silver, the Graham Trucking, driven by Bobby King, and then the white boat trimmed in black and gold. It's a U91. It is the Goodman Real Estate. So we are right now 4 minutes away from the start of our Heat 4A, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones race course. John Walters, you can't go swimming right now, but it is now time to get out of the water, and we are going to enjoy the world's fastest race boats. I've been reading a copy, John Walters, as I've been saying, as Andrew Tate cuts the race course. What did I miss?
Well, Andrew did indeed cut across, and so did Corey. He followed Corey across. I think Bobby was just practicing leading everybody up the back straightaway, which I think he's going to try to do on a more permanent basis as time goes on and he gets some more seat time here. But Jamie's out there pacing around. He's looking for his opportunity to get the inside lane here. He knows he needs the inside lane in order to run with the boys that he's drawn in this heat. Drawn, is that a word?
No, it's not. But you can use it anytime you want. I knew right where you were.
All right. Well, there are no such thing as an easy draw anymore, and these boats are all very competitive. They're all prepared extremely well, and just a great group of guys driving them right now. So Jamie's out there running above 80 miles an hour, trying to pick that inside lane, trying to figure out a way to keep it, as Andrew comes up along the outside, trying to figure out a way to take it away from him. So we've got boats cutting across the infield here as Corey's following everybody into the first turn.
Watch Corey.
Bobby's going to come up from the backside here and hope that he can catch somebody by surprise.
I thought maybe Corey might jump, but he did not. So they're 1, 2, 3, 4 through the lower corner. Jamie Nielsen's going to come off the exit pin right now. We are at 225 to the start. Then it's Andrew Tate coming up behind him, and interestingly, inside of Andrew Tate is Corey Peabody. Watch those two up the backstretch. And now Corey's going to give it a squirt and come up right alongside Andrew and say, oh, by the way, I am here.
Yeah.
So you can't move over, and right now I am in front of you. This is some of the cat and mouse and the gamesmanship that gets played during the milling period as these guys jockey for position, reminding our fans that are watching on the shoreline and online on the H1 Unlimited YouTube channel, lanes are not assigned when you come out of the pit area. That's what this milling period is all about. Now, 1:45 until the start. John, you've been talking about the fact you want to be down here at this lower corner at the apex at about the 1 minute mark. They've got 34 seconds to make that happen.
Yeah, Jamie's in good shape here right now. He's just, on a plane above 80 miles per hour, going to cruise right down there. Corey's in good shape too. He's a little bit farther behind him. I think that, these two guys that are following up here, they're watching their watches as well. They've got, spotters that are talking to them. They've got people up there looking at the GPS. They've got a lot of help to be where they need to be at the right place, the right time on this race course. So I like to be right about the apex of the turn when the 1 minute gun goes off. That gives me some options.
And they are just about there. 2 seconds, 1 mark. White flag on the race course. That means we are inside 1 minute. Now, coming off the bottom end of the race course, Jamie Nielsen in the U11. Legend Yacht Transport's going to sit in lane number 1. Corey Peabody behind him. He is going to be in 2. Then it's going to be Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate in 3. On the outside is going to be Bobby King in the U12, the Graham Trucking. Inside 40 seconds. 40 seconds to the start. John, take him up to the top end of the race course.
Well, I like lane 2 right here. That gives you the most options in and out. And Andrew's already proved move and he can drive around guys on the outside. As they start to accelerate up to the floating bridge there, Corey's in good shape, and he's going a little slower because he's got a shorter distance to go. Jamie's still holding down that inside lane as they come around, and Bobby King coming up hard on the outside. So they come off this turn here. They're going to want to be about 12 seconds from the starting line, and they get off to the power right now, and the guys on the radio are telling them, go, 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 it's green. Bobby's on the outside. He's just a little bit ahead. He had to back off just a bit there, and everybody else is pushing really hard. So we may have a gun jumper here. We're going to have to take a look at that, and it's going to be under review, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Bobby King may have gotten along across that line a little bit too early. The start is under review, but we'll call them the way they are on the water. And right now, the way they are is Jamie Nielsen is going to come out of that corner first. Nielsen is out first, but there is Tate on the outside. There's Corey in between them. 1, 2, 3. You've got a good boat race up the back chute. And now Andrew, Tate, Corey, Peabody begin to separate themselves a little bit from third place, and that being Jamie Nielsen in the U11. Top end of the race course. It is Tate on the outside. It is Corey on the inside. Off the exit pin, side by side, gonna come down and put one in the book. Yes, Bobby King in the 12 did jump the gun, but our leaders are legal, and it's Peabody by 2.5 boat lengths on Tate as they cross the line at the completion of lap number 1, but Andrew is not gonna go away. Down to the lower end of the race course on the second of 3 times around. What do we got coming off the corner? Corey Peabody, but Andrew right there with him. Ooh, this is as good as it gets. Here we go again, John Walters, and Andrew Tate is really showing me something on the outside as he's hanging with Corey, John.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and actually Andrew's in control right here. He's got, just a little bit of a lead. When he gets down there, he's going to be able to determine the lane that that Corey's able to run in, because he won't let him drift outside. Now Corey's got a great lane, and he's inside there, and he's moving out from the buoy line a little bit to give himself some room. But these guys are after each other, and they're going hard, side by side.
Coming down to put 2 in the book with 1 to go. And if you can pick a leader, you're better than I am. Down to the low, and
Whoa.
Tate is really flying the boat. Picked up the right side
what?
sponson, but he got it back down in the water before they got to the turn. That's what he's got to do. Corey on the inside. Where is Andrew? Where is he? He's right there with him. He's back about a boat length and a half. See if Andrew Tate can make one last run up the backstretch at Corey Peabody. Peabody, our national high points leader. Andrew Tate, our top qualifier. These are tall, and there goes Andrew. Andrew is pulled up alongside and taking the lead at the top end. Got a boat length. This is going to decide it. Going to try and hold him in tight. He does. Everybody hang on. Here we go. This is for the checkered flag. Corey in 1. Going to be Tater on the outside. And Tater is going to finish in second place, 2 boat lengths behind Corey Peabody. Oh my goodness. We've got a good race off the top end of the race course between Jamie Nielsen and Bobby King, but Bobby King jumped the start. He will have an extra lap to go. Oh my gosh, John. It's too much fun.
It is too much fun, and that was really exciting. As they came down this front straightaway, there's very little wind right now in Lake Washington, but what wind there is was right in their face when they were coming down, and you could see that Andrew was flying that boat, trying to get every ounce of speed out of it that he could get, and he got it pretty high several times, scary high, honestly, and I'm glad that he was able to lay it back down, and the boat was, running really well on the outside lane there. He had farther to go. It'll be interesting to take a look at the lap times. I wouldn't be at all surprised to find out that Andrew had faster lap times, but had more distance.
Wow. I'm glad you were talking. I was catching my breath.
I was about to flag somebody over to give you some CPR here, so I can't do this by myself.
We got to just keep this rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to unlimited hydroplane racing and that didn't get your blood pumping, then maybe there's another event going on this weekend that you need to go to, because that's as good as it gets. That absolutely is as good as it gets in H1 Unlimited Racing. I promise the fans good, close, side-by-side, deck-to-deck racing. They're making you and I look really, really smart, John.
They are, and the other thing that they're doing is they're making this look easy, and I want to tell you from the driver's point of view, from a crew chief's point of view, it absolutely is not easy. What you saw out there is incredible. The fact that those 2 boats could go that hard with each other, that fast, with each other, completely in control, at times maybe on the edge of being completely in control or even in control at all. But that was amazing, absolutely amazing. And these drivers, these boats are so so good. They make it look easy, and I promise you it is not. They are indeed. Everybody came out of the pits, went around the first turn there, and are in fact going up the back straightaway. Kind of at a cruising speed here right now, trying to figure out where they want to be and what everybody else wants to be. I ran upstairs there real quick trying to get lap times on that last exciting heat, and H1 is doing such a good job of running these heats, and Seafair is doing such a good job of keeping the action going. The scoring department upstairs can't print them out as fast as they're laying them down, so we'll go back afterwards and we'll do some comparisons then.
We'll take that as a good thing. It was pointed out to me just as we approached the 5-minute mark here that there is a little bit of a breeze blowing up the race course, and I know you know about this Genesee Tunnel down here.
Yes.
And that wind comes down there, comes across the race course. What are these drivers thinking about that? Is there enough wind right now to get their attention?
There absolutely is. In fact, we saw it in the last heat. You saw Andrew coming down here picking up that right side, and the wind is blowing right in his face at that point. And it kind of comes across through the little gap in the hills right there, right through the pit area, and right here at the start-finish line is where it seems to be the worst. You can see the flags on the boats out here, blowing pretty good as the air is moving across the water. You're starting to get a little chop on top of the ripples and things on top of the chop and the rollers that are out there. So it's starting to look more and more like the Ted Jones race course, lumpy and bumpy.
Lumpy and bumpy sounds like a couple of guys. All right, we're coming up on 2 minutes. 2 minutes to the start of our Heat 4B at the 2023 Home Street Bank Cup and APBA Gold Cup race here on Lake Washington. So far, everybody's been very well behaved. J. Michael Kelly came out of the pit area, stuffed himself in lane number 1, and he's been there ever since. Nobody's made a move. And I honestly, John Walters at 145 at the top end of the race course, I don't think we're going to see anybody make a move.
I don't think so either. I think they're pretty well established where they wants to be. J. Michael thinks he needs to be on the inside lane here in order to win this thing. I think Dustin out there in lane 3 thinks he's got enough top end to get to the first turn first and be able to control that turn when he gets there. With Gunner out here on the outside, he's not going to be able to get there in time to mix it up being on the outside lane. So I think it's going to be a real tough one. Dylan's obviously got his work cut out for him here as he's cruising up there in between, trying to make enough room for himself, get there quick enough, and they're just about right on time. We want to be at about the apex when the 1 minute gun goes off, and they're right there.
They're right where they want to be. Gunner is a little bit early, but he will be way on the outside. He can scruff off time as he goes up the back chute. Once again, the U1, the Miss Home Street, the U8, the Beacon Electric, the Flavor Pack, U40, and the 60. Beast Unleashed presents Miss Thriftway, Runny, Kelly, Eccles, O'Farrell. Up the backstretch, J. Michael Kelly sitting in lane number 1. Dylan Runny, the rookie out of Rumson, New Jersey, sitting in lane number 2. Then it is Dustin Eccles in the yellow and blue Flavor Pack. Coming up on 25 seconds. I like where they are on the race course. An unofficial mark I have is about 20 seconds at that entrance pin. They got there right at 20. Now the boats have fanned out. There's a lot of lane space between them. Gunnar O'Farrell's going to be on the far outside. It's going to be Dylan Runny in lane number 2. Kelly's going to be in 1. Runny's in 2. Gonna be Dustin Eccles on lane 3. The outside. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1. Mark, it appears to be clean from here. And John Walters, you wanted to get Dustin Eccles down to the lower corner first. I think he got down there first. It is a legal start. Can he get the boat around the corner? J. Michael Kelly on the inside's got the lead coming off the pin, but he has got company with him. Runny's with him, and so is Dustin Eccles. We've got 3 boats sharing the same rooster tail, John.
Yeah, they look really good. It's hard to tell one from the other right now. Thank goodness for those drones up there. We can actually see what's going on. But J. Michael's leading everybody down the back straightaway. He's running downwind right now, and I think by the time you get to the apex, you're going to see these guys getting on the foot pedals, trying to calm them down. Dustin's coming up hard on the outside, and when they come down the straightaway, they're going to have a pretty good breeze right in their face. These guys are going to be driving these boats with their feet, and their feet on those wings.
Boy, oh boy! Dustin Eccles hung the 40 for a long time. You mentioned the wind, John. Sorry to trample you, but I know you weren't looking at him, and he was just hanging it there on the front chute. Kelly down to the lower end of the race course, lap number 2. And Runny's going to come on. He's given ground on the outside. And boy, we saw what happened there when he had to pull your foot. I'm sorry there a little bit, but Dustin Eccles having to pull his foot, that cost him a second place position, and now it is Dylan Runny trying to run down J. Michael Kelly on the outside.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And Justin is trying to make up ground here on that top end, and unfortunately he can't use the top end right now, especially coming down this straightaway with this wind in his face. And like I mentioned earlier there, when they got themselves in trouble, these guys are going to be driving the boats down this front straightaway with the front wing, and their feet are doing that. So they're hanging on to the steering wheel, and Dustin's coming off hard about halfway down, just about to the start-finish line here. He's got so much ground to make up, I don't think there's a chance that he can catch up with the boys.
Now it's interesting now to see if Dylan Runny can make up ground on J. Michael Kelly. Kelly's going to come off the turn with the lead. He's got about 5-6 boat lengths. I'm not sure Dylan Runny can run him down. I know J. Michael Kelly's looking in that right side rear view mirror. He's got radio guys in his ears telling him right where Dylan Runny is, and it is almost a full rooster tail for JMK, but Runny doesn't want to go away, and he's willing to take a shot at J. Michael Kelly on this, the third of 3 times around the race course. Kelly took a hop up there at the top end of the race course, but he's able to settle it down, come off the pin clean. The checkered flag flies. J. Michael Kelly, driving a Beacon Electric, is going to come down and pick up an apparent 400 first place points. Good run for Dylan Runny in the U1, the Miss Home Street. He will come across in second place, looking for Dustin Eccles. Here he comes. He will come down and pick up third place points in the Flavor Pack, the U40. And then it will be Gunnar O'Farrell coming by in fourth place, driving the U60, the Beast. Unleashed presents Miss Thriftway. John, we had a conversation in the last heat about, I was asking you about Andrew Tate when he hung the 91 for quite some time, and the fact that he was able to feather it and bring it back down without giving up a whole lot of momentum and having to pull his foot too far out of it. We saw something different there. First of all, Dustin held it up there for a whole lot longer, but he did have to come off the throttle, and when he got it back down, it cost him his position on the race course. The others were going.
It absolutely does. That can be a showstopper when you end up having to come out of the throttle like that. It may be a half a second, maybe even a whole second, but in that second, that boat out ahead of you is picking up big ground. I mean, these boats are moving 300 feet per second at the kind of speeds that they're running here. So you come off the throttle for just a little bit, that turbine takes a little while to get spooled back up and get rolling again, and you lose some time, you lose a lot of ground. And in this short distances that you have to make it up here with this 2-mile race course, short straightaways, big wide turns, there just isn't enough time left.
Let's take a look at our national high point standings, and it is very, very close. Corey Peabody sits atop the list right now with 4,975 points. Right behind him, make that 91 points behind him, is teammate J. Michael Kelly with 4,884 points. Bottom line here on the National High Points Championship, John, if Corey wins this final heat, he claims the Gold Cup and the National High Points Championship. If J. Michael Kelly wins this final heat, he claims the Gold Cup and the National High Points Trophy. And then there's all kinds of scenarios that go on after that, but it's between those two for our National High Points Championship.
When I see you there, my heart.
5 minutes to the start of our APBA Gold Cup final heat. It's the Home Street Bank Cup, the APBA Gold Cup at Seafair. The first boat away from the dock is going to be Jamie Nielsen. He's going to come out in the Legend Yacht Transport presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse. Jamie Nielsen away from the dock. It is Chartreuse. It is Royal Blue. And he's going to have the rest of the field right behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, we are inside. 5 minutes. We're at 4:30 until our final heat actually begins. Let's one more time take a look at the boats. It's the U1. It's powder blue and white. It's the Miss Home Street. It's driven by Dylan Runny. The bright red U8 Beacon Electric, driven by J. Michael Kelly. The U9, predominantly white with the blue lettering, the Beacon Plumbing, Corey Peabody. Then it's the aforementioned U11 Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse and Jamie Nielsen. Then it's the blue and yellow, the Flavor Pack, the U40, driven by Dustin Eccles. And then the white boat, trimmed in black and gold, the Goodman Real Estate, the U91, driven by Andrew Tate. Our final heat is 3 minutes and 45 seconds away. Seafair reminds you that for your own safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones Racecourse. So now it's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats, the H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes. John Walters, I'm reading my copy. I'm not looking. What am I missing?
Well, they came out of the pits, as you mentioned. Jamie was the first one out. He got to about the start-finish line on the backstretch there, cut across to the infield, and came over to this side. Dylan went just a little bit farther up the back straightaway and came across on this side. They're all kind of packed up together now with J. Michael Kelly on the inside. It looks like Dylan's cutting across the infield here, going to try to steal that inside lane from JMK. And we've got Andrew on the next lane, in lane 3 or 4, and then Corey out in lane 5. It looks like Jamie's back in the back waiting, looking to find an open hole here. And Dustin Eccles following up behind everybody, looking for that opening with all that top end. He wants to get to the first turn first.
I was kind of surprised there. It looked like J. Michael Kelly definitely left room for Dylan Runny coming across the racecourse to get on that inside lane. So with 2:35 until our start up the backstretch, it is Dylan Runny sitting on an inside lane. He now moves a little bit to the outside. Looks like the field's going to move outside with him. It's J. Michael Kelly in 2. But then I talk about the fact that maybe Kelly let Runny on that inside lane, but you've been saying all along you think lane 2 is the place to be. Maybe let him in, maybe he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the guys here will tell you that lane 2 is the fastest lane. You can come strolling down here, get to the entrance pin, and just turn the boat in lane 2. Lane 1 is a little bit tighter. It's harder to run right on the buoy line, and if somebody's in lane 2 can pinch you, you have no place to move on the inside. You either go inside the race course or hit a buoy. So lane 2 is really the preferable lane.
Well, and at the top end of the race course, Dylan Runny went way wide, and J. Michael Kelly actually moved to the inside, but now it appears Runny has tightened it up a little bit, and JMK has let him go in there, and Kelly has moved back to the outside in lane number 2. Andrew Tate finds himself right now sitting in lane number 3. Then it is the Beacon Plumbing, Corey Peabody in 4, Jamie Nielsen in 5. Dustin Eccles is on the far outside. I like where they are, although maybe Kelly and Runny might be a little bit early. John Walters, you want to be at that apex at the 1 minute mark. We're not yet to 1:10, although we're there now.
Yeah, you sure do, and Dylan's working real hard to try to get the inside lane here. And the way they've run this weekend, I think they need the inside lane to be competitive here. J. Michael Kelly has got enough boat speed, enough experience, and I think he can get a little deeper run at it, and he can win from lane 2. But the one I think you really need to keep your eye on there is in lane number 3, and that's Andrew Tate. Andrew's boat is accelerating extremely well. He's able to fly that thing into the wind here better than most people would give you even credit that is even possible to do. And he's been managed to not only fly the boat but keep his foot on the throttle at the same time and not really give up any speed there. Where the other boats have gotten badly out of shape, they've had to back off the throttle and they lose a lot of time there.
I think we got a couple of boats up there early, and certainly Dylan Runny is one of them. I think Kelly might be a little bit early. We're at 20 seconds right now, and they're already coming off the top end of the race course. I think Runny's going to have that inside lane, but he may have overpaid for it. Then it's going to be Kelly in 2, going to be Tate in 3, Peabody in 4. It's going to be Eccles on the outside. Nielsen's going to be in 5. We are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark and Andrew Tate did not break the clock. Dylan Runny did, but it was Tate with the boat speed from lane number 3 or 4, and then on the outside, it was Dustin Eccles who's going to turn left first, come out of there. It is Andrew Tate. He comes off the corner first, but he's got J. Michael Kelly right with him. Kelly hooked just a little bit as he got to the exit pin of the corner, and Andrew Tate was able to open up a little bit on him. Now Kelly's got the boat straightened back up, and here comes J. Michael Kelly. The start is legal. They are really rolling hard. Somewhere in that mess, and it's back in about 4th place, is Corey Peabody to the exit pin at the top end of the race course. On the outside, coming from lane number 3, it is Andrew Tate in the 91, the Goodman Real Estate. Look at the flavor pack on the outside with Dustin Eccles as he flies it across start-finish line. Remember, fans, we go 5 times around. Corey Peabody is definitely back as Dustin Eccles flew the flavor pack as they got down to the lower end of the race course. Oh, have we got one hooking up here good. It is Andrew Tate on the outside. He's got about 3 boat lengths on J. Michael Kelly. This is turning into a very good 2-boat run, John Walters. But right now, Andrew Tate starting to open up a little bit of water on J. Michael Kelly.
Andrew's really in the perfect spot position here. He's got room on the outside to drift out a little bit if he needs to. He's really trying to hold that number 2 lane and not give J. Michael Kelly any more room than he absolutely has to there. They come off the exit pin pretty close because J. Michael had a shorter distance, but Andrew's got top end on him here, and he tends to pull away a little bit more. He's in perfect shape. The boat is run, but J. Michael Kelly's pulling real hard on the inside there. They're going to be side by side when they get to the entrance pin.
Yeah, they're down at the entrance pin of the corner right now. We start lap number 3, and they are literally dead even. They are dead even. Now it's Kelly that you see first coming off the exit pin. Right with him is Andrew Tate. J. Michael Kelly comes off the pin. You can see Tate. He's right on the outside. We expected a barn burner. This is a beauty. We've got a great race running for second place. Dustin Eccles in the flavor pack is on the outside of Corey Peabody in the U9 to Beacon Plumbing. But the race is out front, and Kelly just opened up some water on Tate. Not much, but he's got about 2 or 3 boat lengths. Exit pin off the top end of the race course. The Gold Cup is on the line. The National High Points Championship is on the line. And Kelly has opened up a little bit of water. They'll put 3 in the books with 2 more to go. It is J. Michael Kelly and the Beacon Electric. Johnny's opened up water.
He has, and Andrew's really fighting with the wind at this point in time. He's really trying to work hard to keep that boat settled down. In the meantime, J. Michael is out front and pushing hard. He's actually stretching the lead a little bit. He's picking up a little bit of room every straightaway here. They kind of hold even with each other going through the turns, but with all that water in the air, it's hard to see exactly what's going on with Andrew over there, but he's losing ground.
He is losing a little bit of ground now to the top end of the race course. The race for third place has kind of been settled. It is now Corey Peabody in third position, but our race is at the top end of the race course. J. Michael Kelly will come down and complete lap number 4. He'll get a white flag with 1 to go, and he is opening water still on Andrew Tate. He's got more than a rooster tail. J. Michael Kelly, this could be the race of his career. He's won a Gold Cup before. He has never won the Drivers' National High Points Championship. Take that back. He's never won the team and the drivers at the same time. He would get them both right here if he can hold on for 3/4 of a lap. Up the backstretch, J. Michael Kelly off the turn, got a full rooster tail on Andrew Tate. Third place goes to teammate Corey Peabody driving a Beacon Plumbing, and then it is back to the flavor pack, and then Dylan running in the home street. Top end of the race course, John Walters, I'm going to bring him through the top end and bring him down. The checkered flag is hanging. J. Michael Kelly, this could be the biggest day of his career. He is off the turn. He can see the finish line. He picks up the front end, flies it a little bit. This is all his if he can finish it. Checkered flag, your Gold Cup winner, J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. Second place to Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate, the U91. Then it is Corey Peabody. You hear the fans clapping here behind us on the tower. I think that is a popular win. J. Michael Kelly, holy cow, 4th place is going to go to Dustin Eccles in the U40, the flavor pack. Here comes Dylan Runny. He will come down in the U1, the Miss Home Street. Oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 started, or 6 started, 5 have finished. Here comes Jamie Nielsen in the U11, the Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Old Cannery Furniture Warehouse. My, oh my. John Walters, that was fun. Can we do this again?
Yeah, that was an amazing race, and I think you just saw J. Michael have the better boat ride. As the water got rougher, the wind came up. He was just able to run in at any lane that he wanted to. The boat was completely under control. It was really fast, and when they got in the rough stuff, J. Michael Kelly was able to just open up a little bit of ground, and once he got out in front, he just never looked back.
John, we've always said, or I have always said as an announcer, you can have all the power in the world, but if you don't have a good boat ride and can't use it, it just doesn't do you any good. And to your point, J. Michael Kelly, I think, had a better boat ride than Andrew Tate did. That doesn't mean Andrew was going to make it easy. Man, he hung right with him there. That was good deck to deck boat racing for the oldest active motorsports trophy in the world. The National High Points Championship was on the line. We are watching on the monitor here. J. Michael Kelly has just pulled the U8, the Beacon Electric, back to the dock. Watch him. He is just now climbing out of the cockpit there. He's still maybe 100 feet off. And he is going to get up on the air scoop. Here comes J. Michael Kelly. Going to put the fist up in the air. Oh, man, what a moment for this kid. No. The question was, is this his first Gold Cup? No, he has won a Gold Cup before, but this time, if everything stands, he will claim a driver and a team National High Points Championship, which is the first time he will have won both. And he will etch his name for the second time on the oldest active motorsports trophy in the world. Wow.
The eyes of the motorsports world turn to the Pacific Northwest. Location, Seattle's Lake Washington. Event, Seafair Race number 1. Hydroplane's Gold Cup is the Super Bowl of boat racing.
I grew up on Lake Washington, just north of the Floating Bridge. The Seattle boats used to be pitted in Leschi, so slow-mos would be pitted in Leschi and come across. So I remember them at probably 3 years old, seeing the slow-mos on Lake Washington.
Today, 60 years after virtually unknown Seattle instantly went big time, Seafair is celebrating a milestone of thunderboats and rooster tails.
Dad's dad was actually here at the very first Gold Cup when the slow-mos brought it back out from Detroit. Our families have been involved, and I'm honored, as Kaylee is honored, to be racing at this race, especially on the 60th anniversary.
60 years of racing translates into hundreds of boats, thousands of fans, and a countless number of memories. Today, you will journey down Hydro's memory lane while keeping an eye on the present and future.
To have the opportunity to have the 60th race and be involved in it is an honor in and of itself. If I could win it, well, that would just be icing on the cake.
So fire up the grill, invite the family, friends, and neighbors, then get ready. This is Cairo 7's exclusive presentation of the 60th annual hydroplane race in Seattle. It is Seafair time, and we're set to present the 2010 Albert Lee Cup.
This is the Budweiser Startup Show, brought to you by Budweiser, the great American lager, by Beacon Plumbing. Stop freaking, call Beacon at 1-800-FREAKIN.
Sunday morning on Lake Washington, but not just any morning. This is a Seafair Sunday morning. And just as they have for the past 60 years, fans will take to the shores and to the water to witness a spectacle unlike anywhere else in the world. Good morning, everyone. I'm Angela Russell.
And I'm Steve Rabel, welcoming you to the Budweiser Startup Show, high above the pits in that very tower right there. We will be with you here on Cairo 7 for at least 8 hours today if everything goes well.
Right.
If it doesn't, we could be here till 10 o'clock tonight. Who knows? We have a great broadcast team assembled for you, as always, to bring you the stories and the festivities. 60th anniversary of hydroplane racing here in Seattle. And there are lots of stories to talk about. We'll detail them throughout the day for you. But maybe the biggest one is, in 8 hours from now, who will be the champion of the Albert Lee Cup here at Seafair?
That's right. You know, on paper, it should come down to just 2 teams. But in reality, it could be based really on a war of words after what came out of the races in the Tri-Cities.
What's always fun about this day is nothing is ever done on paper. It's always settled out here on the water, and sometimes in the pits as well. Well, let's check in with our resident analyst here, our Hall of Fame, our Motorsports Hall of Fame member and 6-time Seafair champion, Chip Hanauer, who will be joining us all day here on the tower.
I'll be here.
Chip, you will be here.
I'll be here.
Thank you.
Let's start with what happened a couple of weeks ago in Tri-Cities. Dave Villox, Steve David, no love lost.
No love lost, and actually, Dave Villox screwed up. He had the race won. He was the fastest qualifier. He had the fastest boat with 1 lap to go, with 1 corner to go. He made a miscalculation in what lane he was in. He came across Steve David in the Alberto boat, made him change lanes. Although it didn't really interfere with, Steve David, it's not legal. So he lost the race on the last corner of the last lap.
Right, well, that's what happened on the course, but in the interviews after the races, that's when more drama started. Take a listen to what both of them had to say.
He tried to kill me down in that far turn. I mean, he came in and there was no lane whatsoever, and I was either going to run him over or we were going to win this race.
There was another boat on the outside. There was another boat that was dead in the water there someplace I was supposed to try to avoid, and the sun's over there because we ran this thing at 450, not 420.
Yeah, obviously he never makes mistakes. You know, I mean, at some point you got to realize, okay, you screwed up, and congratulate the winner.
Wow. So, were they just blowing off a little steam, or do you think those were fighting words?
No, competition does this to relationships. You know, what happens is, these guys 2 or 3 years ago, they were great friends. It was all fun and games. Well, it's all fun and games till somebody loses a boat race, right? And now, all of a sudden, these guys are at each other. There's a lot at stake here. There couldn't be two more different personalities. Not only on the race course, but off the race course. They are entirely different kind of individuals.
I'll tell you, after covering this guy for so many years in the cockpit as he was a racer, there was no one more focused. And at times, people thought maybe that you had a little bit of an edge to you. And look how you've mellowed.
You with edge?
No, it's true. When I was racing, I took it so serious. I got so focused. Competition does this. And, you know, when we talk about Paul Becker and Kaylee Perkins, they were great buddies until last year, actually. And now, after the Seafair race, there's a little animosity there as well.
Well, let's talk about the team totals right now, because that's also going to be something we're going to look at, because that means so much into who continues racing to go to the Middle East, which is really the big carrot out there for all these teams, right?
And the reason it's a big carrot is it's a lot of money, because these boats make about $15,000 per race, but if they can be one of the 10 that go to Qatar, they will make $125,000. So if you look at the standings here, the boats there in the U-13, the U-25, and the U-57, they are desperate to be one of the 10 boats to go to Qatar to cash in on that $125,000.
All right, well, Chip's going to join us back here again in less than an hour. There are 14 races today, and he'll be here for all of the action. We can check in with Chris Francis, our sports director. I think so, yes. He's going to be at the pits all day, and one of the teams he's watching is the defending champion, the U-96 Spirit of Qatar. And I know we were talking with Chip earlier, there's been some debate over the pronunciation, whether it's Qatar or Qatar, but talking with Boeing officials, it is indeed Qatar, and I've always heard you say it that way, too.
Qatar is what us newsies, as you know, like to call it. But Chris is with the defending Chevy Cup champion from years past, and now he's hoping to be the champion of the Albert Lee Cup here at Seafair. Chris?
He certainly is, Steve, and just here signing autographs and stuff, and nice enough to join us real quick for an interview here. And Steve's staying up in the booth, defending champ, and you had a great day yesterday, a great start to your run.
It's a good start. You know, we needed to get points, and we got those. This one's going to be a lot harder. We're running from the complete outside again, so. But the weather looks good, water looks good, we're just going to let her fly.
Yeah, it was a little bit bumpy yesterday. I know that's what you said, and everybody said it looked easy. How do you keep that going today? I know the first tee, you're running on the outside.
We just got to race our way in. You know, it's not we have to run very, very hard here, and hopefully we can get to the front. But probably unlikely, a lot of fast boats inside of us. So what we have to do is just do the best we can and try to start working our way and racing our way towards that inside lane again for the final. So just a lot of hard work today.
We've been asking you about this rivalry all week long. This is what the fans want to see. You'll be in the first heat here. You know, it's going to be a tough job to overtaking your time. Your lap times were pretty much the same yesterday.
Yeah, but we've been a little better in rough water, and I notice their boat's a little flighty, so we'll see how it pans out when we get to the race course. We'll see how rough the race course gets, but it's hard to pass anybody on the outside here in Seattle because of the rough water. So we'll just see, take a good heavy swing at the bat and see what happens.
I'm sure we'll be watching you all day long, Steve. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks.
That's Dave Billwalk. We'll be back to you, Steve.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. And we have our microphone problem, we believe, fixed with our Mike Fitzsimmons at the start-finish line. So, Mike, when we last chatted, we were talking about how the weather might affect the racing today.
Seattle weather is always unpredictable, Steve, and as a result, you never know what you're going to get. Now, as you heard Rebecca say, we're not going to really see a whole lot of wind today. We're not going to see a whole lot of chop on the water caused by the wind. But she did say this: toward the afternoon, the wind will pick up out of the southwest. And you don't need a lot of wind in that south turn, in turn number one, to cause the water to start chopping up and frothing up and leaving you rollers 3 and 4 feet with big troughs in between. And when everybody goes charging into that corner, that is a dangerous turn. There's no getting around it. And if you just get a 10 or 12 mile an hour wind from the start line to the first turn, what happens is that right sponson, especially at high speed as they're charging down in that first lap, the right sponson likes to lift. And when it lifts, if it catches just enough wind and catches a roller at the same time, you'll lift up above the horizon and there's no getting it back.
So in these conditions, Mike, who do you think would work best in this?
Well, it depends, Angela. There's a lot of different things that these crews are doing, and this is a team sport. The driver himself is out there, or herself, as the case may be, attempting to master these waters in the condition they find them. But the reality is that the crews are trying to set it up with the best possible boat ride. The key is get above it. Don't hit it and allow it to launch you away. Get above it to where you bounce over the top of it. They'll be working on that, but the conditions, obviously, is unlike motor racing with wheels. The track changes virtually every lap around, so we have to set the boat up in such a way that it's going to be able to handle almost anything we could expect in a 3-lap or 5-lap final, as the case may be. And that being the case, the crews will be adjusting wings, looking at the ride of the boat. The driver will be working the canards pretty much on this front straightaway, and anything can happen. But the weather is always a factor in Seattle, even when it's really hot.
Mike, 40 years in this sport, 25 with us here at KIRO 7. Go out on the limb for us. What do you think? Who wins today?
Steve, this is a sport of ironies. If the last 60 years of Seafair haven't taught us that, then it hasn't taught us anything. I am looking at a driver who has actually, for the 4 races thus far this season, this being the 4th, of course, has let the race come to him in a way I haven't seen in a young driver in years. And this fellow does not have the fastest boat, but J. Michael is, in my view, the fellow who is going to be able to pull this off. You saw a move yesterday, and we'll show it to you when we run the heat, in which he literally created a condition for himself, planned it in advance, almost 3/4 of a lap in advance, and was able to take advantage of it. This guy is watching the other fellows thinking, how can I put myself in a position to win? So I'm going with J. Michael Kelly and an upset today.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. We'll talk to you a little bit later.
Now, a driver profile presented by 76. We're on the driver's side.
Perhaps the most prominent driver currently on the H1 Unlimited hydroplane circuit is Auburn, Washington native Dave Villwock. Racing since 1992, Villwock now drives the Spirit of Qatar, formerly known as the Miss Elam Plus. Villwock has racked up 60 career victories, just 3 away from becoming the all-time winningest driver in unlimited hydroplane racing history. Last season, the Elam Plus was first in victories, but finished 2nd overall in points behind the old boy Alberto Miss Madison. After a win at Seafair last year, Villwock seeks to record yet another victory on Lake Washington.
Driver Profile is presented by 76. Bring your 76 gas receipt to their tent at Seafair and get a free gift.
Ready to bring your brand into the real world? Shopify.
And welcome to the Albert Lee Cup at Seafair. It is time to go racing with Unlimited Heat 1A. Here is the rundown. The old boy Alberto, Steve David on the inside, 2 straight driving championships. Greg Hopp has been fast in the ladies kettle cook boat. Miss Albert Lee, Brian Perkins, the Miss Red Dot, Kip Brown. Nate Brown is the team owner there. The Spirit of Detroit, Miss Jillians, with Cal Phipps at the controls, and the Miss Peterson May, the rookie John Zimmerman behind the wheel. It's Unlimited Heat 1A. And the clouds have broken just a bit, but the drizzle continues here on Lake Washington as we get set to race. And Chip Hanauer, as we look at this list, Steve David has it pretty much the way he wants it, doesn't he?
Not really. It's a big change here. Yesterday, Greg Hopp in the Lay's Kettle Corn really stepped up his speed. Steve David thought as long as he didn't draw Villwock, he was fine. But now, all of a sudden, he's got his hands full of Greg Hopp.
Van O'Day, the big boats are back on the waters of Lake Washington.
Lord Alberta just came by our start-finish line tower, passing out Pepperoni, and Steve David wants to pass everybody. And in his Alberto, he wants that national championship, but he better look out because Greg Hopp and Kip Brown are both looking quick. Mike Fitzsimmons will call it for.
Here they come around the top of the course now, Patrick, as they are already established in terms of their lane. Steve David and Alberto in lane 1. The Lay's boat with Greg Hopp in lane 2, Albert Lee in lane lane 3. The Red Dot in 4 with Kip Brown. The Julians with Cal Phipps and the Peterson May in the 6th lane. They come to the line. Looks like we're going to have a picture-perfect start here. Steve David nails it as they come down to the first turn here with plenty of speed. This was one of the better starts we've seen this year, Chip, and we've got a lot of traffic.
Brian Perkins right there in the lane 3. He really's got a lot of boat speed. I'm really amazed. That's the fastest I've seen that boat ever go.
And they get them sorted out of the exit pin down there, and down the back chute, Steve David has got the lead, but it looks like the real battle is between Brian Perkins and Greg Hopp, who are side by side in second place and within the rooster tail of the Old Boy Alberto. Now, as you know, Steve David has a slim lead of 370 points in National High Points, and he did not pick Dave Villwock in this heat, so he has a chance to go up on him depending upon what luck befalls Villwock in the next heat, and he's trying to make sure he gets away clean with this one. At the end of lap number 1, Steve David in the Old Boy Alberto has got a very strong lead, and Greg Hopp is now being challenged by Kip Brown in the 17 boat.
And Dave turned the first lap at 142.051.
142.051 for the first lap. Steve David out in front in the Old Boy Alberto and in the points chase, but right behind him and still putting on the pressure is Greg Hopp, and then Brian Perkins in the Albert Lee is behind those two in third place. So we've sorted this out now to a certain extent, but we still have some pressure on the outside from Kip Brown, who has now passed the Albert Lee going into the turn number 2, excuse me, the North Turner Bridge turn, in a real hurry up there. Out of the corner comes the Old Boy Alberto. We got several of them bunched up there, and our finish order in the second lap is going to be the Old Boy Alberto out front. Still Greg Hopp in the Lay's Kettle Cooked is right in their second place now, just now passing. It'll be Kip Brown driving the Red Dot as he comes by. Now there's a disabled U100 boat. The Kettle, the Lay's Kettle looks like it got cooked, and unfortunately he falls back to 4th place now as Stephen David, running some rough water up the back chute, has everything his way. Kip Brown has established second place, and Chip, it looks like Kip Brown has got a lot of boat speed out there.
Very surprising the boat speed he's showing, and I also want to talk about that start. In the years past, we've talked about boats fighting for lanes. These boats were assigned lanes by their qualifying speed. Back to you, Mike.
Yes, they were, and coming down to pick up 400 points in a first place in Heat 1A, it's going to be just the way he had planned it. Steve David in the Old Boy Alberto, about 3 rooster tails ahead of his nearest competition, and that's because his earlier nearest competition broke just on this front straightaway. Across the line now comes Kip Brown. Very, very impressive run for Kip Brown in the Red Dot. Albert Lee comes across the line in third place with Brian Perkins, and finally getting the beams back again is the U100 Lay's Kettle Cooked. And 4th place overall. Well, we got a little bit of a battle going, but it looks as though it's going to be John Zimmerman in the Peterson May, followed by the 13 boat Miss Jillian's with Cal Phipps, who's had some mechanical difficulties out here getting qualified and getting in this race.
All right, Steve, this turned into a race for second place pretty quickly. Did you mean this to be a statement race?
We're really just trying to make the Alberto run better each time, and we tried a different combination. It worked really well in this heat. The goal is to win this thing come time for the final, so we have to progress every heat, but certainly we'll take those 400 points and move on down the road.
How about conditions? That's been the question of the day. We've had rain, we've had wind. Has it been affecting you guys while you're out there?
Seattle's always rough, so it's what you expect and you set up for it, so the conditions were perfect, and the Alberto loves this rough water.
Yeah. This is a great start then for you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Steve, back to you.
All right, Lee, and here are now the official results. Again, Old Boy Alberto and Steve David on top. The speed shown by the Red Dot. They pick up the second place. Lay's Kettle Cooked along with Peterson May, Miss Jillian's, and the Miss Albert Lee Appliance.
Your bill's on time. Raises your credit score, right?
We continue unlimited racing with Heat 1B. Here is your lineup. The fastest boat on the water this weekend, Dave Villwock, starts on the inside. Then Jeff Bernard in the FormulaBoats.com. J. Michael Kelly in the Grand Trucking Boat. Mark Evans is back in the race along with Mike Webster and Ken Muscatel in the U25 Car Approach. Could not get that boat going. It's unlimited Heat 1B. Cool cloud, a little chop on the water, but Chip Hanauer, the race here in this particular heat may be between Jeff Bernard and J. Michael Kelly.
This formula boat team is running 3 boats, and Jeff Bernard wants nothing more than to beat his teammate, J. Michael Kelly. I think we're going to really focus on that second place race between those teammates.
Matt, Dave Villwock, 10-time winner here in Seattle, wants to win it again.
And he's got crosshairs on his back. These guys want to get him. There's 3 red boats. One has a bird on the tail. The other has a football-sized Graham trucking sign. Helping you separate those boats. Mike Fitzsimmons, it's your call.
3 boats from Indiana in there with the Spirit of Cutter, and that's, of course, the 96 boat. There are 3 former Seafair winners here on these waters in this competition, and Dave Villwock is one of them. So is Mark Evans, 2 of them in this heat. As they come around, of course, the starting positions are predicated on the qualifying speeds, and that's what put the 96 boat inside the Spirit of Cutter. And Dave Villwock has got a good head of steam coming down here to the line. We're going to have a perfect start here. Leading him across the line, though, was J. Michael Kelly in the Graham truck. He had an absolutely picture-perfect start in the 3-lane as they come across. Both he and Jeff Bernard, along with Dave Villwock, go rocketing through that first turn. Chip, Dave Villwock has phenomenal speed.
He does, but watch these 2 boats here. Those are the 2 teammates we talked about. Jeff Bernard out-qualified him by a little bit, so he's got the inside lane, but watch how fast J. Michael Kelly's working on that outside.
Now you're seeing the Spirit of Cutter up the back chute, and the boat seems to have a lot of air underneath it, and if you think that's the case, you're exactly right. That's the way Dave Villwock likes to drive this boat. He likes to fly it. The least amount of wetted surface equals the least amount of drag, and the faster the boat will go. There's no question about it, but this one is the class of the fleet when it comes to speed. In second place among the Reds, it is Jeff Bernard. And in the 5 boat, this FormulaBoats.com, followed by J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking in that order, and their teammate Mark Evans is in 4th place right now in the Washington Truck Dispatch, followed by the Matrix System boat. That's Mike Webster out of Pennsylvania.
Boy, J. Michael Kelly right there made a crossover move. He went over Jeff Bernard's weight to get inside of him, and if Jeff Bernard doesn't know he's there, his radio team should tell him that. J. Michael Kelly still's got a chance there on that inside to get him, and I think this is going to be a good boat race.
Well, when he got a little loose there, we saw an awful lot of the underside of that race boat for J. Michael Kelly for a moment there as he took that inside lane. He's fighting a little slop from the wake of his teammate. Meanwhile, staying out in front of it all, attempting to get 400 points to stay even with Stephen David as far as the point spread is concerned in national points. That is the Spirit of Cutter, and that is Dave Villwock coming across the line. 1st place, 2nd place, it's Jeff Bernard. 3rd place now by Rooster Tail and a half. It is the Graham Trucking and J. Michael Kelly. And in 4th place, still way back, a half a straightaway away from, or a half course, I should say, away from the lead boat. That would be Mark Evans.
Be interesting to know if Jeff Bernard did not pull in a lane in that floating bridge turn because Kelly was coming up on the inside, and suddenly Kelly had to go through his rooster tail. I think he changed lanes, but we'll see what the referee
It was a little tight up there. One thing's for sure, if you are not having to entertain a crowd, you can do things your own way, and that's exactly what Dave Villwock is about to demonstrate as he comes down to eye the checkered flag and win Heat 1B of the Albert Lee Cup at Seafair, and the Spirit of Cutter crossed the line with the flag. 2nd place, Jeff Bernard. He comes across the line about 3 rooster tails back of the Spirit of Cutter, and in 3rd place, about by the same distance, it would be the Graham Trucking.
And Villwock turned a quick lap in that first time around, 145.834.
We have a penalty on Bernard, just as you observed there, Mr. O'Day. It appears as though he did not give a sufficient overlap, and that means his teammate picks up 2nd place. That would be the Graham Trucking. So, and this, by the way, Chip, is the kind of racing that we've been seeing from J. Michael Kelly. Put on the pressure, make sure you make somebody make a mistake, but make sure you're safe in the process. That's just what he did.
I'm a big J. Michael Kelly fan. Remember, we pointed out that looked like it could happen. J. Michael Kelly did the crossover, hoping maybe we can show it to you again. Did the crossover, got inside of him, made up ground. Jeff Bernard panicked and cut him off, and it cost him dearly.
And you know, those 2 guys don't exactly love each other. They're on the same team, but they're not too sure they're fair and sharing the props and this and that and the other thing. And this will just heat the controversy up a little bit.
And
let me show you what made this happen. You're going to see this boat right here in third place. That's J. Michael Kelly do a crossover. He's going to cross his wake. He sees a lane in there. Now he hopes he has good water. He's going to try and run up inside of Jeff Bernard. It looks like a long. Now we go up to the corner, the final corner, and right here you'll see Jeff Bernard, where now he's supposed to leave him a lane, and he doesn't do it. He goes right to the buoy, and then he leaves no place for J. Michael Kelly to go. That's an infraction.
Dave, Bill Walken, we waited most of the day to get it done, but pretty easy for you there.
Yeah, it was a lot tougher than it looked. It was real rough. The thing was trying to swap ends up on the other end. I was in a couple of troughs, but managed to get it lit and get into the starting line. It looks like J. Michael or somebody had a tough time up here in front. There's some big ruts out there that were causing some problems.
All right, the only drawback, you didn't get Steve David in the draw, so maybe next time.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. It just pays their money and takes their chances.
All right, Steve, back to you.
So here now the official results. Unlimited Heat 1B. And Dave Billwalk, of course, taking the win. Ram Trucking, followed by Washington Truck Dispatch, Matrix, Formula Boats, and the Car Pros boat did not start. And we're getting set to go racing for real, for live, here on this Sunday morning with the two fastest boats in the same heat. Heat 2A coming your way shortly. Here at the Albert Lee Cup at Seafair.
Insurance all seems the same until it's time.
Putting the final touches in, getting the boat in the water. This is his second run of the day. He took the boat out a little while ago just to test the waters and to test some changes that the crew is only terming at this point special sauce. They're not really cluing Steve into some of those changes that they had made before the run because they didn't want him to overthink it. They want to keep it simple for the driver, and Steve says that he really appreciates that the crew does that for him. So they're just putting him into position right now. He says he is not taking any of these heats or any of the races for granted. He knows that every single one of them counts, but he's going to get a look at the conditions for today as well. That was a real issue yesterday. The rain, the wind, it seems it's all back today. He says he's not concerned about it, that actually the choppy water is what the Oberto likes to run in. So he's actually excited to get out there and really give it a spin. Back to you.
All right, Lee, we'll be following things in the pits along with our Chris Francis down there. The change, the lanes, the lane assignments today, as opposed to yesterday, easy going, Chip, yesterday. Today, not so easy.
Well, first, let's go back to years past where they fought for the lanes. Now they're assigned lanes in the first heat by qualifying speed. But this heat is very special because they're reversing the order of finish from the second heat. So now Dave Billwalk is on the far outside, and just to his inside is Steve David and Oberto. This is the race that Steve David in the Oberto has to beat Dave Billwalk to have any chance of getting that inside lane for the final.
Mike Fitzsimmons, down the start-finish line, you'll be calling the race. What do you see out of that competition, those two guys, where they have to come from outside in to try to win this heat?
Chip pretty well stated it. If Steve David doesn't do it here, he isn't going to do it. It is as simple as that. He has to control this heat if it's at all possible to do so. He's going to have a faster boat. And I mean, this boat has been 5 miles an hour faster all week long out here qualifying. And in its initial heats yesterday, the Spirit of Cutter is a faster boat, and he's going to have to take a larger race course, and he has to be able to drive around the old boy Oberto before he can shorten the size of the race course that he's going to run. And Pat, that simply means that Steve David either has it or he doesn't.
Well, clouds and all, this is setting up to be one of the great heats of racing of the year. Yes, the Qatar is a little bit faster than Steve David and the Oberto, but Steve's got the inside lane. This is such a critical heat for him as you look at the entire season as one big picture.
And don't ignore the rest of the traffic. They can play a role in especially into the first turn as to how this one shapes up.
J. Michael Kelly, your selection will be in the pack there somewhere.
Well, as a matter of fact, let's head down to the pits right now and talk about at least one of those other boats that may be in the mix. Anything can happen, as we know, out here on Hydro Sunday. Chris Francis is near the Ram Trucking pits. Chris.
Yes, Steve, I have actually all three boats, Spirit of Cutter here and the U-17 and also J. Michael Kelly's boat as well, and they're all getting ready here down in the pits. And I spoke with Dave Billwalk. Obviously, we spoke with him an hour ago on the air, but I spoke with him after that and just asked him what it's going to be like to run on the outside. He said, I know this race course. I'm going to be good in rough water, which he's going to see, and yeah, it's just a matter of time if he can keep his boat where he wants it on the outside before he gets by Steve David. So he's not really worried about being on the outside because, of course, he's got that faster boat, faster than almost anybody out here. But keep an eye on Kip Brown, because he was very fast yesterday in some of the heats, and so he is maybe a dark horse in this one. But they look like they're all ready to go here, and especially Dave Villwalk on that outside.
Now, a driver profile presented by 76. We're on the driver's side.
At the controls of the U100 is powerboat racing veteran Greg Hopp. This Snohomish native has raced boats since he was only 9 years old. Most recently, Hopp became the driver for the Leland Unlimited team after the legendary Chip Hanauer retired in the year 1999. Hopp captured Rookie of the Year honors that season, but he is still seeking his first career victory on the Unlimited circuit. Behind the wheel of an Unlimited Light, however, has been a totally different story. His 20 victories on the Unlimited Light circuit make him the winningest driver in the history of that class.
Driver Profile is presented by 76. Bring your 76 gas receipt to their tent at Seafair and get a free gift.
Say we go racing. Heat 2A for the Unlimited boats here on Lake Washington. Here are your headlines. This is where the battle is joined. It begins now. The Alberto and the Cutter boats, they're on the water. What about the Graham Trucking boat? Fast and hungry. Let's see how they measure up. And the Red Dot boat, they've got some speed today. Can they compete? We'll see. It's the Unlimited Heats 2A.
This place needs more life. Oh!
And here are your Muckleshoot starting lineups for this Heat 2A. The Miss Albert Lee, Peterson Bay, Red Dot, Graham Trucking, and there to the outside, the Oak Boy Alberto, and then the fastest boat on the course, the Spirit of Cutter. Speaking of the course, as we take a look at the waters, again, a gray, kind of lumpy day out there, but the boats are out. They're getting set. Chilly 66, but the wind's not kicking up too badly as we head off to check out the drivers at the controls of the fastest boats on the water. And here you go, the Albert Lee Perkins boat, the U-21 with Brian Perkins at the controls. Mike?
And Brian's going to have to show something here. He only got 169 points in competition yesterday. He needs to step it up because his performance was not strong.
In the Peters and May boat, John Zimmerman, the rookie, and Chip, the adrenaline's kind of going a little bit in him, I would think.
It is, but he's really got a short sword here. This boat was leased from Fred Leland to replace the boat that was damaged in Detroit when K.W. Myers hit the wall. He doesn't really stand much of a chance here.
Nate Brown's team with his nephew Kip Brown at the controls, the Miss Red Dot. Mike, they showed some speed yesterday. We didn't know they had.
They did, and he'll be starting from the middle of the pack also, so he will be a factor on this start. Watch where that yellow, red, and blue boat goes.
J. Michael Kelly, Mike Fitzsimmons, not so dark horse, Chip.
You know, not so dark horse, especially from yesterday. I think this is one of the most gifted drivers I've ever seen. He pulled a great move yesterday to give him a second place. He's one to watch not only in this heat, but all day long.
I don't know how much more we can say about the Alberto team and Steve David, other than that they're defending driving champs. And, Mike, they need to get points because they're competing head-to-head with Cutter.
Absolutely. The monkey's on this boat's back and Steve David's back. He is basically taking a hit on 17 on the blackjack table.
Lee Stoll, the sausage boat, is out on the water. Steve David, a confident driver.
He's not expecting that big lead that he had in the heat yesterday. The crew is saying that he's expecting this to be a tight-packed race, not only what he does right, but also watching out for the other drivers, and, of course, keeping his eye on the Spirit of Cutter.
And that's the boat just to his outside, the defending champ here at Seafair, Dave Villwalk.
You know, there's a national championship at stake. Dave Villwalk is behind because of some mistakes he made. He needs to beat Alberto every time he gets them so he can win that national championship that will come to a conclusion in Cutter.
Chris Francis, the fastest boat on the course.
There's no question that's
got a confident driver here in Dave Billbach, just like Steve David. And as a matter of fact, I've got a prediction here of 2 laps from one of the crew members here before he overtakes Steve David, guys.
All right, Pat, here they come, the big boys.
Steve David, if he's going to win the national championship again, the place is Lake Washington. The time is now. He needs to win this heat. Mike Fitzsimmons calls him.
As they come to the line, Pat, we've 10 seconds left on the clock, and of course the guys to watch are on the outside, but the fellas in the middle, J. Michael Kelly and Kip Brown, are going to control this to start to some extent. We hit the line a little late, but they are at the front end of that fleet as they come through. You're watching them in the middle of your screen, and right now, Dave Billbach is way outside and hanging back, just waiting to see how this lower corner sorts out. Chip?
Mike, if that was either a perfect start or J. Michael Kelly jumped the gun, it is going to be very, very close. If he didn't jump the gun, that was perfect.
And up the back chute now, we have J. Michael Kelly running out front at this point, along with Kip Brown to the outside of him and trying to drive around boats that are not quite as fast, but fast enough to cause a problem. That is Steve David in the Old Boy Alberta, and you're seeing that we've got foggy conditions on the race course at this time. Peters and May, which went down at the first quarter, has gotten restarted across the line. Kip Brown will lead them with J. Michael Kelly in second place, and in the outside lane, we've got Steve David in the Old Boy Alberta, and here comes very strong from the far outside, the Spirit of Cutter and Dave Billbach. As they come into the corner, lots of convergence into that turn. But Kip Brown's getting a great boat ride out there in this rough water, and he's running very well inside as they pass by the U-21 boat there, the Albert Lee. Up the back chute now, and let's check out how this continues to sort out. The Albert Lee putting on the pressure from the inside, and Kip Brown, and that's the view from the Albert Lee as we look right out the window and see exactly what Brian Perkins is seeing as they come out of this corner. Lots of traffic. Mike, Kip Brown has gotten a penalty, is going to have to go another time around, and that leaves the lead now at this point to the Graham Trucking boat.
Mike, I think the big story here is not what's going on up front, which is a great boat race, but Dave Billbach is back in, 4th or 5th place. This means a lot with regard to the national championship and lane pick as we go through the day today.
He's in physical 4th place, but of course the boat that leads the green boat, green and white, Pat O'Day is actually penalized. He's not really the leader, but here we have J. Michael Kelly taking advantage of the situation from the middle of the race course. He's going to get a checkered flag if he can hold it, but right now Stephen David is putting the pressure on him.
The quickest lap so far has been 139. That was the first time around. In these waters, that's flying.
Mike, J. Michael Kelly, as we've been touting all weekend long, has driven great. He did a great move yesterday. That was a perfect start, and look what it results in.
And what it results in is 400 points because J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking takes the checkered flag in this heat 2A. And Stephen David will take second place, but as you mentioned earlier on, the Spirit of Cutter just didn't seem to have the ability to catch these guys from the outside. Whether that was deliberate, I doubt it was, because the points that have to be given up because of that outcome are simply not going to be acceptable.
Now, we know Kip Brown was penalized lap, but are you sure that the Albert Lee appliance was also Brian Perkins?
I'm not sure that Brian Perkins was the only one that
Brian would be your winner if he wasn't, if he didn't jump the gun, and the Graham Trucking with Brian, with J. Michael Kelly would be second.
Thank you for sorting that out, and you're correct about that. Physically, that was the case. I confused those two boats. It was Kip who was in trouble, but not Brian, and Brian physically finished across the line first.
I tell you, nobody could have predicted this heat. This was an amazing heat, and it's going to have ramifications, not only for today, because now lanes are assigned by point totals. It's going to have big ramifications for the national title. So this one heat, as Pat said, going into it, might be the most important heat of the season.